गणानां त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आनः शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम् प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती धीनामवित्रयवतो गणेशाय नमः सरस्वत्यै नमः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम्।
स ईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। Om Shri Sai Ram. Our collective reverential pranams at the lotus feet of Bhagwan Baba. Sai Ram to everyone, all the participants, our guest speaker, Dr. K.M. Ganesh, and all the organizing team members. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce Dr. K.M. Ganesh. We lovingly call him Ganesh brother. Dr. K.M. Ganesh was born in Manipal, Karnataka, and brought up in the steel city of India, Jamshedpur, where he has completed his schooling. His early inclination towards heartful seva activities have instilled him as a Boy Scout, for which he has received the Presidential Scout Award in 2000. Further, he has been the vice captain of the Vidya Bharati Chinmay Vidyalaya. He has received awards for his leadership and participation in all the school administration activities. He joined Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning in 2002 and completed his program, a bachelor's in chemistry with BSc honors. He went on completing his master in chemistry in the year 2007. In 2009, he was blessed with a gold medal and distinction in MPhil program and blessed by Bhagwan Baba himself. He completed his doctoral program in 2018 in the area of water quality management and treatment from the Department of Chemistry, Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning, Prashanthi Nilayam campus. He has been associated with all the service, cultural, sports activities at an institution level. Even we often see him in Mandir while delivering many discourses, along with that, sharing daily activities update. As an institute student and a research scholar, Brother have participated in Gram Seva activities as a group coordinator for 15 years, and that's a long duration. He headed the drinking water department and the Kulwant Hall Prasadam and Mandir Line department. As a senior boys hostel for several years, he was supporting them as well. He has been acted, directed, given so many voiceovers, and his voice is something which today, after just hearing him, you will be able to recognize, oh, we heard this voice in Prashanthi Nilayam Mandir many a times. He received athletic championship during the undergrad and the postgrad program, and his brother was the captain of volleyball team too. He has been a part of study circle group, satsang interaction in radio science over these years. He has given many talks in Prashanthi Nilayam as we were discussing, and we keep hearing his official announcer English voice, a very subtle, serene voice. Currently, brother is working as a research associate for the postdoctoral fellowship in the STAR Labs, which is further in touch with Central Research Instrument Faculty of Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning, which is CRIF, where he is a part of clinical study in association with cardiology department of Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Medical Sciences, Prashantigram, and a biomedical device development program they are working on. But every discussion with Brother Ganesh is always full of insight, inspiration, and it provokes that participation in you to go and serve the Lord and serve in such way so that there is no Maya in that. Saram brother, we welcome you. Saram.
Uh, Sairam, Brother Kush, thank you for your kind introduction.
And still you're sitting in your lab. Great, brother.
So, Sairam, everybody. Invoking Bhagwan's divine blessings. Esteemed elders who are present, and my dear brothers, loving Sairam to all of you. So, as I was going through this 5 chapters of Dhyana Vahini, to be honest, as I told yesterday also in the talk, that every line has got so much of meaning and depth. It is not, please, if you have, I'm sure you have read through Dhyana Vahini, all these chapters. I assume that all of you have gone through it. Not like any other textbook, but it is a textbook of practice, something which needs to be practiced, contemplated a lot, and then you have to proceed. So it took me really a lot of. It was not just as easy as no. I have read Dhyana Vahini earlier. I think in my postgraduate days I had read, but even as we read these, the books that we call as classics, classic is something like even Bhagavad Gita, for example, and all of the Vahinis. Is every time you read, if I read it today again, I'll find some new meaning. It is not that I've read it and done with it, because as we read, no, we also mature in our thinking, and we are able to see it in a totally different light. And every day is a different experience. It's a new experience. We are growing. 1 month down the line, if I read the same chapter, it will give a different understanding. And that is why these books are like, not that you have read it once and you have left it in the shelf. No, I've read this 20 Vahinis and that's it. It's not like that. It is something which you carry with you. Okay, luckily we are in the digital world. We have everything in the smartphone. Anytime you want to refer, anytime you want to read, it is not like there is an occasion that is the time only that you have to read. Swami gives example that you are looking at your face every day, but still, you go and wash it every day, but you don't get tired of it, no? Because every day morning we want to wash the face, so because we want it clean. So the mind also should be continuously being exposed to this kind of teachings and this kind of material, which we are so lucky that Bhagwan has given us. So it should be a regular practice, even if you read one paragraph every day, one paragraph or a page. You can do it randomly also, or you can, if you are supposed you want to have a theme of Dhyana Vahini or a Prema Vahini or a Bhagavata Vahini, that is something you should, like now leadership program is going on. This month is dedicated for Dhyana Vahini. Okay. One more thing, even before I proceed into the talk, yesterday, I mean, it had happened that sometime accidentally the participants had probably switched on their videos, and I could see that they're in the middle of so many things. So if you are in middle of something, you just try your best to cut off from everything and give you 100% attention, because like when we are transferring milk from one cup to another, no, even if one of the cup is shaking, the milk will spill. You'll not get the 100% benefit. And that is why I request, if it is if you're really kind of, you want to absorb the essence, it's not like I heard first 10 minutes or 15 minutes, and if you're doing that, then you will not be benefiting yourself, not for the sake of organization of anybody, for yourself, and not even for the sake of the speaker. It is because of Swami's words. These are Swami's words. Now I will share my presentation. I'm sure you would have read this 5 chapters, cultivate the blissful atmic experience. Just to say that, it's a process of cultivation. The moment we say cultivation, the first thing which comes in our mind is agriculture. Okay, and we know, you ask a farmer the pain of growing the crops. Okay, you ask any of the farmers, right from removing the weeds, preparing the soil, plowing it, and then you put the seed inside, and then you water it, then you're putting fertilizers, then you wait patiently for it to grow. Okay, and you're always irrigating it, and finally the fruit comes out. Okay, if it is a mango tree, the fruit comes out. Even then, if it is raw, then you have to wait till it ripens. So definitely one thing is very clear: when we say cultivation, it involves a lot of patience, and it involves a lot of discipline. Discipline means what? In the context of cultivation of the crop, for example, mango tree, it is that you should not allow some goats or some cows to come and eat off the plant when it is in the sapling. So you should have that fence. So now we are talking about cultivating good qualities in us, so that we become good characters. So, and this is what makes us eligible. We get the patrata of receiving the highest which Swami has come to give. That is self-realization. Swami said, "You're God," and he wants us to realize that. So it is a process of cultivation. So you have to treat yourself like a sapling in the initial stage, and the same sapling, you should allow it to become a tree. You have the potential. In one of the chapters, I think fourth chapter, Swami says, right from amoeba we have come. And at a time when amoeba was there, it was lava and the things were so, you can't even imagine. But today, if you look at the human potential and what we are, even the fact that God has come in a human form, when we are having that potential, no, why should we take the life so lightly? Or as the second chapter, I think the sixth chapter says, meditation reveals eternal and non-eternal. Full time we are chasing the non-eternal. Why should we do that? It is surely because we have not experienced the eternal. We have not tasted it. So meditation is a madhyam, is a way, is a time when we actually sit and when we try to connect with our true self, the ultimate. And if we have the taste, once we taste it, nobody can stop it. Even if somebody comes and tries to stop also, you will not stop. You will automatically wake up. You'll automatically do the sadhana. Okay, but give yourself a chance. Just give yourself a chance, and do not just dump it saying that, okay, I tried it. But see, everything requires time. You have to give time, and you have to put investment in terms of effort. Then it kind of reaps the benefit. And once you go to the point where you've tasted the beauty or the taste of namasmarana and japa, no, you yourself will not be able to stop yourself. So all Swami is seeing in all the chapters that I've gone through from chapter first to till chapter 9, at least I've read, I see Swami is creating a reason why you should meditate. Because if the why is very strong, I don't need how I will do, what I will do. No, the why is very powerful, and Swami has built the case so strongly and so beautifully, and out of pure selfless love, that I am God and I want you to realize that you're God, and this is what I'm giving you, an opportunity. So we should not take this lightly, and the best we can do as a gratitude when having read this, it is not just for the certificate that we might get at the end of the program. It is a lifetime gift. It's a lifetime gift, and in fact the highest that we can ever achieve. Now I would like to, having said that, I will discuss about some of the so-called paradoxes. Having known everything, why we behave the way we behave. Why is it so? So now I'm sure if the screen is, everybody is able to see the screen.
Yes, Sairam.
Okay. Okay. So now we will let us get into the real thing. Okay. The first thing is the first paradox. All of us. This is the paradox of Duryodhana. It comes in Mahabharata, and Duryodhana says, "Janami dharmam, nachame pravritti. Janamya dharmam, nachame nivritti." I know what is dharma. I know what is right. I know what needs to be done, but I'm not having that inclination to do. I don't have the inclination to practice what is good. Okay. Then the second dilemma is, I know what is adharma, what I'm not supposed to be doing, but I'm not able to stop myself from doing it because I am driven by my vasanas, my previous tendencies. Okay. So this is a dilemma. And this is the dilemma of all the youth and probably everybody in Kali Yuga, that everybody knows what is to be done and what is not to be done, but we do the opposite. Why? It's a paradox. Why? So again, I have just so that I've used the acronym BALA dilemma. BALA, BA is binding action, liberating action. Just for every time you come to a point where you have to make a decision. Is this action going to bind me or liberate me? Is it taking me towards God? Is it taking me away from the God? It's a simple question. It is not something like a rocket science of a complicated algorithm. It is very simple. This action, will it make me dear to Swami, or will it take me away from Swami? I mean, in our context, we are Sai devotees. We are lucky. It's so simple. Can I do this in front of Bhagwan, or if I were to do it, will Swami be happy? It's very clear, So, but the thing is, the dilemma comes because there is one part of you which has not been kind of worked upon. We have not done the sadhana. You have not removed some of the weeds that we are supposed to remove before the cultivation starts. You have started the cultivation. You put the mango seeds and you have put the rice crops and all that, but you have not removed some of the weeds which you're supposed to do in the first place, or you're supposed to do at the time. First, when we are preparing the field, first thing that you do is you remove all these weeds, and then you start plowing. Sometimes while plowing also some of the weeds comes out, and that also you discard. So the process of spiritual development is, as it comes in the chapter 9. First you are like hazy, you don't know what is happening, you're living your life with the flow of what your tendencies and inclinations are there. Then you start realizing, no, there's an active stage where you say, this is what I have to do, this is what I should not be doing. This is a time when we are plowing. When you're plowing the soil, the weeds are coming out and you're supposed to discard it. And then you're putting. So you're removing and you're putting. You're using your viveka of selecting. You're using the thing of vairagya. Vairagya is renunciation. You have to give up certain things. So this goes hand in hand. So the dilemma comes when we are not yet, we are like a housefly, as Swami again puts a beautiful example. I enjoy listening to bhajans, I cry, I miss Swami. At the same time, I go and see my web series or I do everything, what is this? Is this the same mind? You think yourself, web series, or it can be any other indulgence which is, which kind of entertains your kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, the 6 vices, So we, like Swami told at the time of Ramayana, the good forces were in Ayodhya and the bad forces were in Lanka. They were in different countries altogether. At the time of Mahabharata, both good and evil, Pandavas and Kauravas were in Hastinapura, in the same city. But in Kali Yuga, it is not that you will find them separate in with this part of the city is good, that part is no. The bad and good is there in each and every individual. Okay, so don't be surprised. The only thing is, whom are you listening to? Like a small child, when the grandfather was telling the story to the small child, that there is a black wolf inside you, there is a white wolf inside you. White wolf is good, black wolf is bad. They both are always fighting. Then the child asks, which wolf wins, grandpa, eventually? Then grandpa beautifully answers, says, whichever wolf you're feeding becomes stronger and that wins. So every time that you're doing a parayanam, every time you're doing nama japa, every time you're doing dhyana, every time you're doing satsang, every time you're doing this svadhyaya, you're feeding the good white wolf, But every time you're going off the track, you're feeding the black wolf, So it is like why the Mahabharata war got over in 14 days that time. But for us, the entire life becomes Mahabharata because we have not stopped feeding. We are feeding the good also, we are feeding the bad also. Good. So the Mahabharata continues. There has to be an end to it, right? So once you stop feeding the black wolf or reduce the diet, slowly you taper it off and it automatically goes off. If you don't feed the guest or entertain it, goes off. So the dilemma is because we are behaving like a housefly, we have to be like honeybee, Swami says. Honeybee goes and sits only in the flower. It only takes the nectar. It will not go and sit in the dustbin. Housefly will sit on the sweet. It will sit on the dustbin also and enjoy both, relish. That is what is happening with our mind. So slowly you have to give up those things which are taking you away from the God, or it is not adding any contribution. Even wasting time is a great sin, Some things might be harmless, you might think, but it is waste of time. Time is so precious, So the first dilemma is, how to address this. And this is where the root cause is we are absolutely unaware, anabhigya, we say in Hindi, anabhigya. We're not even aware of our true nature that Swami has described as, which is having Aishwaryam, Ishwaryam, Jnana, Vairagya, Kirti, Saundarya. This is what you are. Somebody says, you're looking very fat today. You feel offended immediately. Because we are naturally divine, Because if somebody says you're not looking well, something is wrong. Because our natural state is to be normal, to be healthy. Okay. So we are always divine, but we are not recognizing it because we have not made an effort to, understand and to experience it. So Japa and Dhyana opens that window where we come in touch with our real self. So that when we start doing it, we'll start addressing the dilemma of, I know what is dharma, but I'm not having the inclination. So when you do Japa and Dhyana, slowly the inclination will come in you. I know what is adharma, and I'm not able to stop myself. Slowly, as you do Japa and Dhyana, since your connection with the Sai Krishna or Sai Rama inside becomes strong, your buddhi becomes more assertive. Hey, don't do that. This is not what it is, right? So you start listening to your buddhi. So how do you increase the assertiveness of your buddhi? Is by doing Japa and Dhyana and more. Coming to the next thing, even after several years of proximity with Bhagwan, we have been, again, I say this because whether it is, Swami for 40, 50 years, or you might say I'm born in a Swami's family, okay, or my father, I'm third generation devotee, or you might have come into Swami's fold just 1 month or 5 months back. It really doesn't matter because Swami again has told in the same Dhyana Vahini is, when you do any sadhana, I do not see the number of hours you sat for the puja or meditation. No, I see the quality of mind that you bring at this moment. because we have to live in present. Swami says present is omnipresent, and Swami is omnipresent. It is at this moment. And Swami is told, I am not attached to a bhakta, I am attached to his bhakti. If I say Swami, I see you don't want to create a new identity. I am a devotee, So then devotion is more important. If you're a devotee, you should live up to the what makes you a devotee is your devotion. No, if your devotion has come down, or devotion means what? Devoted. I am devoted to Swami's teaching and I am following. So there was a certain phase in our life where we were like fully devoted, but sometimes the pull of Maya and pull of world comes and you are kind of compromised. But that moment, no, you're not your 100%, so to say. So Swami knows your caliber. Swami will push you to your best. Swami wants you. Swami will never say, you are my best devotee, because Swami has given in one of the Guru Purnima discourse in 2008. I was a witness in Kulwant Hall. Swami said that I can count my genuine devotees with one hand's finger, means it is less than 5. It means it is the master Swami has a standard like this. The moment he says you're good, no, you become complacent. You stop putting effort. So Swami knows when to give acknowledgement, when to tap your shoulder. He knows when to do it. But his standards are very high. And because we are what just now I said, we are divinity. So now to address to this dilemma or this paradox, that after so many years, why mere mein badlav? You're talking about national leadership program of self-transformation. Okay, it is not that we have done this 9 months program and we are transformed, because transformation is a life refinement. Swami says is culture. Refinement is something which is lifetime. It never stops. Okay, so there's always a scope for improvement. But the dilemma comes where I've been Swami's devotee for last 20 years, 10 years, but I don't see the anger that I used to get, I'm getting with the same intensity. Maybe it has become worse. Okay, the kind of things which are happening, anger and the jealousy, this is quite paradoxical. Why? Now, Swami, in this beautiful episode, I would like to give some insight on this. So once Krishna was standing in the bank of Yamuna, and one devotee of Krishna comes to Krishna and tells, who is your best devotee? Only God knows. God knows what is inside your heart. We see only the outside. We always see the position. But God is the one who knows what is inside, what is happening inside the individual, because he is Antaryami. So Krishna, in his own unique, beautiful, inimitable style, tells him, okay, come with me. He takes him near the Yamuna and tells him to just go a little bit inside Yamuna and pick one rock from inside and get it. So the devotee gets the rock, and Krishna tells him, what do you see? The devotee says, I'm seeing a wet rock. Krishna says, break it. So he breaks it, okay, and the rock breaks. Then Krishna says, what do you see inside? I mean, the devotee says, it's absolutely dry inside. Then Krishna says, the stone has been inside Yamuna for hundreds of years, okay, but not a drop of water has gone inside it. So there are many people who stay with me, okay, who are very close to me, and but not a drop of my teaching, my love has entered them. Okay. Then Krishna takes his silk dhoti and he dips it inside the Yamuna. And silk, we know, immediately absorbs all the water. Okay. And Krishna says, there are some people who come from far off places, they are with me for some time and then they go back. But whenever they are with me, they absorb all my love, all my teachings, They are far better than the stones who are full time inside the river, but no difference. Outside they might be little wet, but nothing is going inside. Okay. So silk is far better. This kind of devotees are far better than this kind of devotees are full time with me. But even as Krishna was speaking, we know the wind was blowing and silk dries off like this. So it had to be dipped again. So they come again and again. In our parlance, we say we have to recharge ourselves. We go to Prashanti Nilayam to recharge ourselves. Once a day. That's why why Dhyana is so important. It is basically recharging, connecting. You're becoming wet. You're soaking the Swami's love, so that keeps you wet with his love throughout the day. And if you feel that you're getting dried up by afternoon, then again sit in the evening for meditation Dhyana. If you see you're getting dried up in morning itself, then afternoon you find some 5 minutes. So it is basically the environment you're in. If you're in a very materialistic or very political kind of demanding, then you have to increase your dosage of the divine nectar. You have to just more frequent it. Instead of doing just in the morning, you probably add it sometime in the afternoon where you're on your own, or in the evening, or just before the sleeping. And you keep yourself wet, because that keeps us going. So that decision is up to you. Then Krishna tells, Okay, these are two types of devotees. Okay, and the third type of devotee, which is the best, and he creates sugar candy and throws inside Yamuna. We know what happens to a sugar candy. A sugar candy will dissolve inside in the water. So Krishna says there are some devotees who once they come in contact with me, they lose their identity and they become one with me. You know, we don't. I mean, they permanently merge with me. So this thing again, whenever I've shared this story, this is not this. I always say that please don't judge others. This story is not to judge others. That this person has been there for so many years. That it is for ourselves. It is for introspection. You have to ask yourself: am I in the stage of a stone? Am I in the stage of a silk? Or am I tending to become sugar candy? Okay. Then you have to make effort. Then probably you have to intensify. And now, what makes a person stone? Stone? Why it does not? It is rigid. It doesn't allow anybody to. That is nothing but ego. You know, what is our ego or obstinacy? You know, I am the way I am. You know, I will not change. You know, that is a housefly attitude where, you know, I cannot give up these things. Swami, I'm sorry, I'm not able to give up these things. You know, and I'll do bhajans, I'll do seva, I'll do 100 other things. You know, but this thing I'm not able to give up, Swami. You know, so that's why the Mahabharata continues throughout our life. You know, because you decide to be a housefly. You don't want to be a honeybee. So sometimes there are some painful sacrifices. There's some devotee had gone to Kashi. In Kashi, you're supposed to sacrifice something, and he goes and sacrifices cucumber just because he did not like cucumber. That is not called sacrifice. And after several years, you know, Swami took him for task because they were having food in the same session, and Swami says, serve him salad. So Swami, he says, no, Swami, I've given up salad, you know. Then Swami says, no, that is 50 years back. As a young boy, you had, in front of me, you had given up, but at that point, you did not like it. That is not what sacrifice is. Sacrifice is something that you like. That is what you should. And what we like, in the example, what this mind likes, what the vasana likes, if you give up slowly, you know, the divine grace rushes forward to you. You're like opening the window and sunlight, you're allowing the sunlight to enter. Sunlight is there for everybody. Divine grace is there for everybody. But we are the ones, we have put the window, we have closed the door, we have put the curtain, we have put double curtain, and we want to be, you know, sorry, this is my time. This is me time, so-called. So that will not work. And if you have that me and this kind of bias, you will have Mahabharata throughout your life. Be ready for that. So what makes the stone, what breaks the stone, what plows the soil, you know, that is what we have to ask. Now, in the context of Buddha also, you can see Buddha meditating. So when Buddha decides to leave his body, an announcement, the word spreads that Buddha is going to leave the body, and his disciples from far off places, they come and they are all surrounding Buddha. And everybody, it's a solemn gathering, you know, they know the master has decided to leave, and they're very thankful to the master for having given the path of self-realization, and they realized to whatever extent they have done. But there was one individual whose name was Ananda, and he was crying. He has been with Buddha for more than like 20-30 years. But he was crying, and everybody was, this is very paradoxical. This person has been with Buddha, and he is supposed to show more maturity and equanimity. You know, one of the signs of spiritual development is a person is very equanimous. He's Shanta. That's why we say Shanta Kara Bhujaga Shayana. You know, Vishnu, he is lying down in Bhujaga. Bhujaga is nothing but snake. Okay, this is again Swami's teachings. It's a snake, which is Vishaya Vasanas. But he's always Shantam. Like when we are operating in the world, no, we should be Shanta Karam Bhujaga Shayanam. Bhujaga Shayanam means we are not supposed, Swami doesn't say that we should run away from the world. We have to be in the world, but we should be Shanta Karam. But this Ananda is crying, and you know, so then they ask Buddha, please, you know, we are not able to understand why the behavior is like this. And then Buddha says, what does the spoon know about the taste of soup? You know, the spoon might be immersed inside the soup for hundreds or any number of hours, but it will never experience the taste of the soup because it is a spoon. Okay, it has never tried to transform itself to a tongue. You know, I mean, the sense that if we decide to be, if you want to be stone, we'll remain stone. We are not. When you give up things, no, you're allowing new things to come. Always there's a Zen wisdom that you cannot fill a cup which is already full. You have to first empty it. Once you empty it, then the fresh nectar will come. But if you want it to be filled with your thing, and you want, no. So the masters, they never waste. You know, even when Divine Mother is waiting to pour the sweet nectarine milk into your pot, but if she says there is a trace of curd in the pot, curd symbolizing bad qualities, whatever, even if it is trace is there, you know, little 1 spoon is there, you might be thinking 1 spoon is fine, what big deal. But even if 1 spoon of curd is there, when the Divine Mother pours the milk, no, the entire milk will become curd. So sometimes, no, God is waiting, it's waiting. It's not that we are waiting for God. God is waiting. When are you going to give up that thing? And you can do it. God is saying you can do it. And the whole thing of samskara is that only. Whole thing of all the Dhyana Vahini chapters, no, it's about Swami is telling how you can do it slowly by giving up. So the root cause, as we said, is the ego, that we don't want to change. We are stubborn. I like it means I like it. I don't like means the first thing that you should do is, why do you like it? What is it that makes you hate it? You have to give up. You have to go beyond this I-ness. And only knowledge is there. You're just speaking. You're not putting into practice. There is one more biggest disease with many of that is called a spiritual ego. You are just speaking and you're not practicing in your life. And practicing is not to show others. Practicing is to showing your conscious that you're practicing. You have to prove to be yourself. So again, when we do Japa and Dhyana, this kind of addresses this paradox that, I've been here for 30, 40 years or 20 years or, 5 years, but why not change? Because why that Mahabharata is still going on? By now, the Pandavas should have won. The 5 Pandavas, Satya, Dharma, Shanti, Prema, Ahimsa, should have won over the hundreds of bad qualities of Kauravas. Why it is not? Because still I'm feeding, I'm going and doing. So when you do Japa and Dhyana, what happens? You stop giving, you start giving. Cultivation involves removing the bad weeds. As you stop indulging into bad activities, lower activities, slowly, you tend towards self-realization and stop, messing around with your life, so to say. Now, this is one more paradox. I've been putting effort. There are many people say, Apna Hath Jagannath. I believe in self-effort. Yes, self-effort is great. But for any success, self-effort and divine grace both have to go hand in hand. Just sitting and saying that I have done it, that only builds your ego. Even if it is in seva, that is more. I have done it. I have done it. I have done it. This I that you have to go. You have to give up. The more you do the more you say I am great. I am great. No, see, if you're humble like Hanuman, Rama will praise you. Hanuman, you are great. But if you say I am great, then God has to humble you. When God decides to humble you, it can be one of the most painful experience of life. We don't want to go there. We really don't want to go there, because when Swami decides to humble you, Swami, of course, being the divine surgeon, he knows where to, prick, and that is a very painful experience. So why go in that path at all? So we should not say I have done it. Now, the reason why we should give up this attitude is we can always take lessons and insights from our scriptures. We can see here Arjuna standing, and that side one tribal chief is standing in middle. There's a boar, wild boar. So Arjuna, during that Vanavasa time, 1 year, he goes for an intense, like we are having this 9-month leadership program, where we are doing something intense. So he wanted to do some intense sadhana. Okay, and he wanted to get some divyastra. So he wanted Pashupatastra. They say Pashupatastra is like, if you get it from Shiva, nothing like it. It will be useful during Mahabharata. So right now we are all actually getting the astras, divyastras. Swami's words and teachings are astras, which prepares us to, face the challenges in the future. We should have that attitude. So when Arjuna had gone there and he was doing penance, one day when during the penance, one wild boar, wild boar will come charging. So he shoots an arrow. Same time, there's one more arrow which comes from another direction, and both the arrows come and hit the boar at the same time, and the boar dies. At that time, it was a style and it was a custom that a person who has killed the animal has the right and ownership over the animal. So when Arjuna is going to remove the arrow, he finds one more arrow, and that time the tribal chief says, "Hey, that is my wild boar. I was hunting." Arjuna says, "No, I have killed it." So they told, "Okay, let us settle the matter by combat." Those days Kshatriyas, one of the dharmas of Kshatriyas, if you are challenged, you face to face, you have to accept the challenge. That is a sign of Kshatriya. When Mahabharata, why do you think Abhimanyu got killed? Abhimanyu, when what was going on, that Padmavyuha was going on, somebody challenges Arjuna, come, and he takes him away. And that is a dharma of a Kshatriya, that if you are challenged, you have to answer it. That shows that you are the Purusha, you are the warrior. So here also they say, okay, let us settle the matter by the mutual combat. And there is a fight which begins. Now, for some mysterious reason, Arjuna was very, Bhima is known for his prowess, physical prowess, but Arjuna was equally strong. He's getting easily beaten up by the tribal chief, and he's very surprised. What is happening? What happened to all the penance and all this thing? And he's getting embarrassed, actually. And as you can see, a lot of people are standing behind the tribal chief. So a lot of people were standing and watching the show. And the wife of the tribal chief also comes and starts laughing, and that is like, adding to the insult. And Arjuna breaks down at that moment. What is this, Krishna? What have you put me in? What situation you have put me? And the moment he thinks of Krishna, no, the moment he remembers Krishna, that tribal chief and that his wife, they change into Shiva and Parvati. They had come to test Arjuna, and Shiva offers him the Pashupatastra. But the moral of the story is, no, till you are depending and leaning on your ego. It was a lesson which Shiva wanted to teach. Don't just lean, because the doership comes in. We are all very strong in our doership. I've done it. I'll never forget, whatever you are today because of your parents, your teachers, right from your standard one till now. Whatever inputs, never forget the people, never forget the ladder through which you have climbed, never ever. That's why you should have an attitude of gratitude, and and the highest gratitude you should have to the God who has created everything. So that was a lesson which, because with more responsibility, with more power comes more responsibility. There is a dialogue in, I think, Marvel's Spider-Man. So when you're given Pashupatastra, imagine what power you're getting, but it comes with responsibility. And that responsibility you will be able to maintain if you always know that there is something called Kripa, Divya Kripa. You don't want to lose that divine grace at any cost. Okay, you don't want to lose his grace. So you have the power, but you always remember that you don't do anything which will cost you the divine grace. You don't want to lose that. So then this analogy which Swami has given the example of cycle, a train, and an aeroplane. And what context Swami is given? Swami says the human effort is like a cycle. You might be the best cyclist. You might be, the Tour de France champion. You might be like the best cyclist in the world. But whatever effort you put, it cannot be faster than the train which is moving. Swami gives the example of train, and he compares with asuric and the negative tendencies which are there. The negative tendencies, are normally very powerful. And Swami says it is like a train. It is any day far superior than the cycle. Okay, then Swami says that is where we should invoke the divine. We say invoking Bhagwan's blessings, and we start the thing. The moment you invoke Bhagwan's blessing, automatically to defeat a train, you need something which can go faster. In this context of strength, we are talking about speed. So, of course, aeroplane is much faster than the train. And Swami says that when you invoke the divine blessings, when you invoke his grace, you easily can surpass the bad qualities. So, in this context, if you are in a dilemma, again, paradox, I've been trying for so many years, I'm not able to give up this vice, is because you have not invoked the divine grace enough. That's why you should do japa. That's why you should do dhyana. You might have deficiency, and you're having some stomach infection, and you're not able to get over it, and suddenly your blood test is done, and you see your hemoglobin is low, and they give you vitamin B complex. So vitamin B complex has nothing to do with stomach, but the moment vitamin B complex goes, your immunity becomes strong, and you're able to fight it. So we think, what is the connection of Ramanama and this thing? No, it is because the moment you become strong, everything becomes small. And for that strength to come, you have to invoke the divine blessings. So that also answers the paradigm or paradox. Why after so many years also we are not? Because you're not been invoking when you're supposed to be invoking always, Nirantaram. Okay. Now this is something which we all know. Mahishasura Mardini. Every year we celebrate Navratri. We go to pandals and we offer her. But you should know the inner significance of this great thing. We see Mahishasura Mardini. Mother is killing Mahishasura. So what is the story? Every time what happens, one Asura will do intense penance, okay, and Brahma Devata will come and give a blessing. And he first thing he goes and kicks Indra and sits on the throne. And all the Devatas, they're displaced, and they go to Shiva and they go to Vishnu and say, Lord, we have been displaced. This Asura has come. He has looted everything. So what they do is they release all their Shaktis, and the whole Shaktis, they come together and become Adi Shakti. Of course, Adi Shakti se sab aaye. Everybody has come from Adi Shakti. So they all combined. It's a united strength. Everybody comes together, and Mother comes, and then she goes and defeats. Now, Mahishasura is not an ordinary Asura. It keeps changing the form. This moment it is a Rakshasa. Next moment it is a buffalo. Next moment it is an elephant. So it is taking the trunk. Next moment it is a lion. It is using the claw. So how do you fight an enemy which is continuously changing the form? So same thing with our mind. This moment it wants this. That moment, next moment it changes. Now how do you control something? How do you tame something which is so changing every moment? Mood badalte rehta hai, we say. Mood keeps changing. How do I control it? You have to surrender to mother, divine mother. You have to surrender to divinity. Please take charge, because this is beyond human effort. I cannot do it. Look at Rakta Bija down also. When you kill that, when you hit that asura, one drop of his blood falls, one more asura comes, as strong as him. Imagine once cut, how many splash of blood. Now you hit him again, another 100 splash comes, 100 asuras comes, and the more you attack, the more it is uncontrollable. That happens with us. We try to do something, we take a resolution. The more we try, it is becoming even more difficult. It becomes heavier on us. Then what we should do? We should invite Mother Kali and say, Mother, you only take over. Ms. Swami, this is your syllabus. This is outside our syllabus. We can't do it. So you see, so the mind, is again, what is the Rakta Bija? It is a desire. You satisfy one desire. The moment you satisfy that, you open one door and you see 10 more doors are there. So there is no end to it. Okay. In the current context of COVID-19 also, if you look at COVID-19 virus, we say it's a mutating virus. First it was, first wave came, second Delta came, now Omicron has come. Now we don't know. It's a mutating means it's changing. Now spike protein changed. Okay. So it is changing. So how do you control something which is changing? You have a diagnostic kit which can identify Delta version. But after that, Omicron comes. It is not able to, because the whole biochemistry has changed. Okay, the whole virus sequence is different. For example, okay, now it is spreading also. It spreads fast. There are super spreaders, we know. It spreads fast. It's like Rakta Bija. It's mutating like Mahishasura. So how do you control that? Of course, we have to do our best. We have to wear masks. We have to keep social distance. But that is not the solution. The whole pandemic which has come, and everybody was put into lockdown, and we were supposed to be in our thing, is if you see its perspective, it's all about perspective, how you take life, what meaning you give to the life. If the same thing, if you say, okay, this situation has been created, now it is the time that you go within, you invoke the divinity. You have to, God has made it. You were so busy for so many years. Their vision was only Bahirmukha, Bahirmukha, Bahirmukha. Now the whole situation has made you forced to be Antarmukha. Actually, even after that, you don't want to do that. Then what an opportunity you're losing, right? So what we can do, when we do Japa and Dhyana, we connect with the God. We become eligible to earn His divine grace, and through divine grace, we can, win, the biggest of enemy. Okay, whether it is COVID-19 or any other enemy, and with more, and you become patrata, you become deserved to get something like a Pashupatastra, because you become more responsible, because you're always mindful of, I should never ever do anything which will make me lose God's grace. God is always eternal witness. Now, there is one chapter which talks about meditation reveals eternal and non-eternal. It is quite paradoxical. Swami says, you give up Madhava, or you give up your Sanatana Sarthi, who has been with you for God knows how many births, and if you ask yourself, do you remember your previous births, friends, family members? Do you remember? No, you don't remember. Their relevance was up till that birth only. In this birth, we know our parents, we know our friends, we know our relatives. We should do our duty, but don't make anybody larger than life. Larger than life means the whole life revolves around them only. No, never do that, because you have come here for a purpose to realize yourself, that your divinity. And Swami, in the Swami's question to a devotee, on whose tune do you dance every moment? Swami asks him, and he says, Swami, of course, you're Swami. Swami says, no, don't give an answer like that. Think and speak. Think and speak. Many times we just give up dialogue for the sake of giving. Then Swami only answers, see, when you were born, time when you're born, your mother held you and said, you are my son. And for the next several months, she was taking care of you full time, 24/7. Her attention was on you, and she will make you sleep. She will feed you. The mother is the first teacher, first guru, and mother is your mothers. Your mothers. And as you grow and you start walking, your father is teaching you how to walk. Then your father says, you are my son, and he wants to take you to that park. He wants to take you to that shopping mall. You don't have a choice, right? You are doing what your father is wanting to do. So you're dancing in the tune of your father. Then you grow a little further, and you join a primary school. Your teacher says, you are my student, and the teacher will give you assignment. Teacher will give you games. You have to play that game only. You can't say, I will play that game. You have to dance in the tune of your school teacher. You grow further. You enter your teenage. Now, what happens typically in the teenage? It's a rebellious mode where we want to explore things. And that time we try to, we want to question the authorities, and the people whom we listen most is our friend circle, our immediate friend circle. We do things together, and if suppose you don't do according to your gang or your friends, no, you are outcasted. So you don't want to be losing that joy and fun that you're having with your friend circle. So you adapt, even if you don't like, sometimes you go, chalo wahan chalte hain, we'll go. You don't want to go, but you still go because you want to be with them. So then you're dancing in the tune of your friend circle. You go further, you join a job, and then before job you of course join a university, and the professor gives you a task. You listen to your professor, your guide, your supervisor, and then you join a job. Your immediate boss is your boss. He decides how much work and what to do. If you want to, you have to be always in his good books, otherwise you will not get the leave when you want the leave. So you're dancing in the tune of your boss. Then you get married, then you're dancing in the tune of your wife. She wants all the love and attention that you are my husband and I want your time, that's it. And if you don't give the time, then of course she has her own ways of showing her anger. You don't want to spoil her mood. And then you get a kid, and the kid is telling her, Papa udhar jana, and you're dancing in the tune of your kid. It's all this. Swami is only giving this example to that person. And then slowly you become old and you become a grandfather, and your grandchild comes and the grandchild says, Dadaji, I want to go to the park, and your leg is aching, you've got arthritis, but you still have to go because your grandson is demanding, and you're going to the park, you're playing in the tune of your grandson, and one day comes, you die. And after the death, what happens? It doesn't, people come till the burial ground. Okay, that's where they can come. After that, what happens? The elements, they come behind you. The fire burns you. The fire burns your body, and it says you're mine. As the fire is burning, the smoke comes, the smoke dust comes, and the wind comes and takes one part of you and says, you are mine. Once the body is burned completely, you become ash, you fall on the ground. Your relatives come and collect the ash and they put it in the water. The water says, you are mine. And then Swami asks, then who do you belong to? Whom do you belong to? And this person went into a deep introspection. Oh my God, I never saw life in such ramification. And then he told Swami, you only say, Swami. Then Swami put his finger in the person's heart and said, it is up to you to decide in whose tune you want to dance. So every moment, no, it is, of course, we are controlled by our immediate boss and depending on our situation. But always remember, when you're doing Japa and Dhyana, we connect with our Sanatana Sarthi. Swami's example of amoeba to this now, he has been our guardian, the protector from the time we don't even know what we wear, and he's our Sanatana Sarthi. He's Saima, Sai Krishna is our Sanatana Sarthi. If you don't, and he's so patient, he's so silent, he doesn't, but he says, these are the rules and this is what it is. And he leaves at that. He's not, he will not get upset, but he gets disappointed if he says the child is still playing in that same, if you're getting 100 out of 100 in standard 1 and you're so happy getting 100 out of 101, you decide that I want to be in standard 1 only because I'm getting 100 out of 100. You'll remain in standard 1 only. You'll not go to standard 2. Life is all about growing, it's all about going ahead. So how long we have done our part, okay. It doesn't mean we leave it and go, but we have to look towards spiritual growth also and spirituality also. And Divine Father and Mother has been waiting to the extent he has come and he has given, and he has been, we are so lucky we are born in the Sai era. If you look at before Krishna came 5,000 years back, there are 3 rarest of things, Swami says. One is to be near in the proximity of a Mahapurusha. Okay, Mahapurusha. The second is the second thing is having the desire for liberation. The desire, you want to get liberated. It is one of the rarest of things. So the first thing is human birth. Okay, Manushatvam, Mumukshatvam, Maha Purusha Samsargam. So the first thing is to be born as a human being is the rarest of things. Okay, there are millions of animals, but to be born. Second thing is to be in the association and company of a divine personality. Third is to have that intense desire for moksha. So these 3 is so rare. You come to this point and you want to give up and you go back. Why? You want to be a housefly even at this point. You want to go and indulge in worldly thing. It's what a waste. What a loss of opportunity. Look at the word called opportunity lost. Okay, it's opportunity cost. The word called opportunity cost. What are you losing? So then, when we do Japa and Dhyana, it basically gives us a clear, this is eternal, this is non-eternal, and we don't get too carried away with the non-eternal things. It has its own place. Yes, we will give its due, but we'll not get carried away and we'll drain our emotions and everything in that. It is not. It has its place, and we'll give its due respect. Now, the four paradigms. I'll rush again. The four things. The four paradigms of four purusharthas. If you when you listen all this, the whole thing was Swami, you get a kind of vairagya. Means, what am I doing at this moment? You might get this vairagya. But Swami says, no, life is not about running away. It's all about having absolute interest. You have to be very involved, but you should be detached. You should be involved, but you should be detached. How to do it? Swami gives an example. Look at a midwife, a woman who does delivery for the baby. So when the baby is being delivered, she handles the baby very carefully. It's the most tenderest, most tender moment when the child is being born, and she handles the baby very carefully, cleans it, wipes it, cuts the umbilical cord, keeps it in the cradle. All the while she's so careful, so loving, but all the while she knows it is not her baby, it is somebody else's baby. Same way, so the love is there, care is there, attention is there, but attachment is not there. Same way, when you're doing a work, you should do with your utmost sincerity and love as an offering to God. But this is not what it is. This is not yours. It is a duty which has come, and you do it, and that's it. Don't have the expectation, the desire for result is what keeps you attached to it. So midwife is not having an attachment. I did the delivery so carefully. Means I don't even know the midwife or the nurse who had delivered me as a kid in a Manipal hospital. I don't even know her. But the thing is, that was one of the most delicate moment of my life. A little bit of mishandling, I would have, every child for that matter, each one of us, we don't know who the person is. They just did their job sincerely. That's how we should do. Give our best, leave the rest to the God. Okay. So understand the four purusharthas here. What are the four purusharthas? Dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Why I'm coming to this, why I gave that example is, see, these are the four things which defines a human life. How? Now, we all have desires. We earn money to satisfy the desire. Okay, but always remember, this should be the framework. You see, the money, artha is money, kama is desire, dharma is the righteousness, right conduct. Always you see, the artha, the money that you're earning should be within the boundaries of dharma. You should do, when you earn money, it should be through dharmic means. You should never compromise on dharma. Goes beyond dharma, that is where the problem starts. Okay. So dharma, artha, once a person has lived a very strict and disciplined life, okay, then he becomes eligible to experience what we call as moksha, moha kshaya. Moha means attachment, kshaya means destruction. So this is the life that we are supposed to lead. This is what has been prescribed by ancient sages. Okay, but now today in Kali Yuga, what is happening? It's all about earning, and you earn to satisfy your desire. Your desire increases, you want to earn more money, you jump job, and sometimes so it's a vicious cycle, and the cycle is called punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. Your life is revolving around. You have to understand the role of dharma, the role of spirituality, role of organization. See, it should be within the subset of dharma. Okay, and what gives you that kind of clarity in making choice, whether it comes to job, whether it comes to day-to-day action, whether it comes to the people you hang around on weekends, on Saturday and Sunday, is are you able to sit within this, stick within this framework or not? Okay, and that clarity comes when you do Japa and Dhyana. When you do Japa and Dhyana, you get that clarity. Otherwise, you might be having the best house. You might be having, once a devotee, husband and wife in 1970s. I happened to meet the devotees in 2010. In 70s, they got an interview from Swami, and Swami was holding their hand and told, see, one day all this will become ash. Swami meaning even this body, the avatar has also taken a body, will become ash. And that time when you come to me, I will not ask you how much money you have earned. I will not ask you how much degrees you have got. I will not ask you what are your properties, Oh, that is for your Nrityu Loka, which is Earth. I will not be asking for all this. I'll ask you only one question. How much of love that I have given you in your heart, you have shared with my creation? How much of love that I have given you in your heart, you have shared with my creation? That is the only thing. And sharing the love means what? Seva. And When you see Atmano Mokshartham Jagat Hitayacha. Jagat Hitayacha is Seva. Atmano Mokshartham, working for moksha, is again Japa and Dhyana, where you realize your God. It is a beautiful thing. You realize that oneness with the divinity outside, and then the Seva that you do is actually you see the oneness everywhere, and that is what the purpose of human life is. So when you do Japa and Dhyana, that clarity comes. Otherwise, the operation was successful, patient is dead. It's like, you have perfect house, you've got a perfect family, so-called, okay, but there is no place for God or divinity or your true self. No, it is like a doctor when he's operating. No, he's operating on your liver, for example. He has perfectly cut it. He has perfectly stitched it, but he was not paying attention whether the heart was beating or not of the patient. The patient would have died also. Okay, but he was not bothered about it. Okay, he was only focusing on the liver operation. Okay, that is not any operation, any part of the body. God, if you see, the doctor is always conscious whether the pulse beat is normal. If the pulse is fluctuating, their thing is to how to, they might give up the operation and stop, but they will see that the pulse continues. Same in our life. Whatever we do, we earn money, we satisfy our desires. No wrong. Swami says ceiling on desire. Yes, we should have. Swami never said no desire. He said ceiling on desire. But at no point you should compromise on dharma, because the moment you compromise on dharma, you will not, you lose your eligibility of moksha, and one more life you have to come again, and again you have to take admission in standard 1, again you have to do your degrees. So the thing continues like that. So this is where Swami says, we are talking about nama and japa. Swami says why nama is superior to nama is superior to rupa. Swami gives the example of mango. Suppose somebody asks me, Ganesh, do you like mango? I will say yes, I love mango, because I have beautiful memories attached to mango. But somebody comes and gives mango to me, the first thing I'll think is it sweet or not? Doubt has come. Is it sweet or is it bitter? The form, though it is a mango, I'm not enjoying it as much as when I am in the memory or thinking of that. So that way, Swami says, Swami is one way of saying that nama is superior to rupa. Then there is an episode where mothers of Lord Rama, Lord Hanuman, and Agastya, they all meet and they are having a discussion. Generally, when mothers meet, they talk about their children. And for some reason, the discussion started about who is better, who is greater. Okay. So Hanuman's mother says, "My son jumped across the ocean." So then Agastya's mother says, "Your son jumped. My son drank only. He drank of the entire ocean." Says Agastya. Then Kaushalya says, "See, both your sons are devotee of my son, okay, Rama. So my son is more superior." So there was some kind of discussion which was going on. Rama was passing by, and let us go and ask Rama himself. They know Rama was Dharmamurti. Okay, Dharmamurti is. Let us ask him. He'll always speak the truth. And Rama says, see, Hanuman was able to jump across the ocean because of Ramanama. Agastya was able to drink the ocean because of Ramanama. And this body has got value because it has the name Ramanama. Okay, even he was not identifying. See, he's made the distinction. The value is because of the name. Okay, so now, for example, you are all Sai devotees or Sai leadership. The name Sai is so precious. It makes whatever it gives you the value of identity. I mean, if you remove that, it's nothing. Okay, so that is the mahima of the nama. Even Rama says nama is more superior than Rupa itself, because Rupa will come and go. Rupa is like a container. It had to contain and it had to function, but it has to go. But nama is eternal. It will always be there. Talking about the nama, little bit into the science of nama. There's something called bijaksharas. Bija, mantra bija. Bija means root. Okay. For example, the word Rama itself, the Ra means it is Agni bija. It has the principle of fire in that. And what does the principle of fire does? The principle of fire burns your sins of past. It burns. Every time you're chanting Rama, Ra, you're chanting Rama, you're burning one fragment of your past sin. Is Surya bija, the bija of illumination. Okay, effulgence, light. We invoke in Gayatri Mantra, we say Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. We are Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. I am contemplating the Savita. Savita is the creator in the form of sun. Okay, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. In the Dhimahi means to meditate. I am actually meditating the divinity in the form of sun. So sun basically, and what is the prayer? The last part is prayer. Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Please illumine my intellect. So it illumines your intellect. The sun, the Surya principle is about illumining the intellect. It's about putting on the light. You can see things where they are. The last thing is Ma is Chandra Bija. See, we as human beings, we are not robots. Okay, we have got emotions, we have got feelings, and sometimes we get emotionally very high. Okay, so what the role of Ma is, we are always calm. The waves, there's a very strong connection between the mind and the mood and the moon. You know, so when we chant Rama, it helps us to keep the emotions under check. We will not suddenly become angry. We'll not suddenly get triggered and say something. It is in the moment of anger or some wrong emotion, we do something which we might be wondering, how did I do that? So when we do Nama Japa, Rama 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 Om Shri Sai Ram, what happens? All this is taken care of. It is like you're taking all the supplements and you're strong. So whenever, even if a rock falls on your head, no, your head is so strong, no, it will not have an effect. Okay, so that is the power. This is of Ramanama. Every name, Durga, Kali, they have Om Ram Rim Rum Ram Ram Ra. They are different bijaksharas, and each bijakshara has got its own potencies of cleansing property. Okay. And Swami always, this is, it might look like a dramatic thing, I put a gun and a bullet, but this is Swami's analogy only. Swami has told, no, you should always add Omkaram, Om Shri Sai Ram, Om before any Nama, because without Om, no, it is like, the Nama is like a gun and Om is like a bullet. It makes no point. Swami has told, and there are two Taraka mantras, Swami says Rama and Omkaram. The moment you add Om, no, you are actually, any sadhana you do, any Nama, you attain Punyam. Okay, it can be material, whatever. But the moment you add Om, no, you are pushed, or you're gravitating towards the moksha marga, because ultimate destination of life is moksha. So if you add Om, you're ensuring that your ticket is your direction. Ultimately, you might get everything, but ultimately you're landing towards moksha. Then Swami says, about one-pointedness, and don't keep shifting there. Today I feel like you're traveling in an aeroplane. For example, if you're traveling in an aeroplane and you see that person sitting in the second seat is smiling and laughing. Okay, so you feel, okay, I should go and sit there next to him. You go and sit there. Okay, but see, ultimate main thing is what, you're traveling aeroplane. Okay, everybody, all of you, whichever seat you might be sitting in, the whole plane is traveling in the same speed. Okay, so some people know today they are worshipping Hanuman. After a few days they see that, okay, Dattatreya is sitting in the second seat, I will go and catch Dattatreya. Then they look behind, one person, Kali, is sitting behind. You can change the seat, it doesn't matter. Okay, because you can keep jumping around, but you're continuously moving, and you might be sitting in the aeroplane thinking that I'm doing Ram Ram, nothing is happening, because inside the plane everything is, when you're progressing, you might not necessarily see the changes, but you're actually traveling. You should have the faith. So no point digging or going around, jumping from one place to another, and take one form and go deep into it. And Swami gives the example of the well. If you dig the well in one place only, you will reach. But you dig 5 feet here, then 3 feet there, 50 feet there, 90 feet there, But if suppose water is coming after 100 feet, even if you dig 99 feet and give up, and then you come and start digging somewhere else, you missed it. You would have dug one more feet, you would have got it probably. You never know. You might be 5 feet away from the water or 10 feet. Just go in the same direction. Don't keep changing the nama. So this last thing I put in red is because Swami says among all the sadhanas, Nama sadhana is safest, because when we talk about yoga, pranayama, and tapas, this is where somehow it gets connected to your kundalini practice and other raja yoga, hatha yoga things, because we want, it involves a component of getting power, and the power normally, power corrupts, they say, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So in spirituality also it is the same thing. It power corrupts, and it's like, I see sometimes, when Swami says, don't play with the fire, okay, you might, if you want to play, some people, in fact, in Dhyana Vahini only Swami says, see, when the Samudra Manthanam happened, nectar came, Lakshmi came, Vishnu took it, but when Hala Hala came, Shiva, let the adventurous people like Shiva go into that. Swami indirectly saying, Swami is telling us basically, you don't have to go into that. Okay, in this context, safest go for Namasmarana. It takes care of everything. You don't have to indulge into yoga, pranayama, and tapas, and hatha yoga and kundalini practice, because power will come, kundalini will come, and then you end up showing your power to others, and you forget that you're supposed to go to the moksha. You forget, and time is ticking. This body is aging, and before you know, the Yamadutas are standing outside your door. So we don't have to get lost and waste our time into all that. So this is so talking about Nama, the person who comes topmost in our mind is Jai Hanuman Gyan Gun Sagar. Okay, Swami, in the context of the summary of this chapter, Swami is praising that you should have a very good character. Okay, and Hanuman is the epitome of character, is the epitome of Nama Japa. Okay, and if you have some insight into his life, his mind was always on Rama, and he was always indulging and waiting for Rama Karya. So let us take example of Mother Sita, mission in which how he was focused. There are so many distractions came, so many obstacles came, but he was so focused. His mind was always on Rama's mission. He did not deviate an inch. Okay. Even when he went to meet Vibhishana told take some rest, and he says, no, I am in Ramakarya. I have to go. I have to proceed. He took the tip and then he went. So when Hanuman jumps, first obstacle which comes, or it is Mainak Parvat. The Mainak Parvat comes. Now, a quick recap, in good old days, the mountains had the ability to fly. Mountains had wings, For some reason, Indra was very upset with all the mountains and he decides to chop the wings of all the mountains. Okay. So all the mountains' wings were chopped. And that time, one mountain by name Mainak, it goes to Vayudeva and says, please protect me. And those days, if anybody comes for protection, they have to give Sharanarthi. So Vayudeva hides that particular Mainak Parvat under the ocean somewhere. Now we know Vayuputra is Hanuman. So when Hanuman was flying, Mainak comes out of the ocean and says, when the wings were being clipped by the Indra, your father saved me, and as a gratitude, I want to be of some service. So you can take rest. You're jumping. It's a long jump, right? From it is hundreds of miles. So why don't you take rest? Then Hanuman says, this is where putting the teaching of Swami into practice. If you cannot oblige, speak obligingly. And Hanuman says, thank you very much for the offer. But however, I am in Rama Karya right now. I cannot delay. And he just, for his satisfaction, he touches him and then he proceeds. This is very important for us day-to-day life. Also, so many people will come. They don't mean anything wrong. They say, let's come out for lunch. Why don't we meet this for a coffee or something? We'll have some satsang and all that. Fine, but if you're in middle of something already, in the sense you're already in a Ramakarya, you should prioritize your Ramakarya than other socializing things. Okay. So this is a gentle tip that Hanuman is giving us. When you're doing Ramakarya, till Ramakarya is over, he will not deviate. He will not. Then comes the other obstacle. See, both Rajasic and Tamasic obstacle came together, but first comes Rajasic obstacle, that is Surasa. Surasa is mother serpent. And she says, whoever is passing this part, he has to enter my mouth and come out. She's not directly telling that I'm going to eat. Because the Rajasic obstacle will never trap you, never tell you directly what it is going to do. But you should understand, you should have the intellect, So Hanuman, what he does, he had all the siddhis. Ashta siddhi now nidhi ke data. Ashta siddhis. So one of the siddhis was Anima and Garima. He could actually increase his size or decrease his size. So he, putting the knowledge into practice, that also is a skill. So he starts increasing his size. Suppose I get that talent, I'll go and increase and decrease. Okay, so what? So what? What is the point? But where is the application? So here is a time when he actually applies, and he also applies during the Yuddha with the Ravana Sena. He increases his size and crushes all the Rakshasas. You should not use your power to show off. You should use the power where it is required. So he starts increasing his size. As he's increasing the size, the mouth of Surasa also is increasing. She is also into showing things. I can also increase the size of my mouth, and she keeps increasing. She keeps increasing. Hanuman also keeps increasing. And suddenly he becomes small, enters the mouth and comes out. Then Surasa is very impressed, by his yukti and buddhi, and she blesses him, okay, you will be successful in your endeavor. So when a Rajasic obstacle comes, they want to stop you, they want to trap you. So you should use your intellect, you should use your yukti, you should be tactful. With people who are tactful, you have to be tactful. And that is what it is. You cannot, get into some, okay, I'll come later. No, they will catch you, they will stop you. You have to use the yukti. Again, yesterday I mentioned, like, if not for Krishna's yukti, Pandavas would have never won Mahabharata. In so many places, Krishna had, whether it was saving during what is it called, Agyatavasa, where all the condition is during Agyatavasa, if you look at them once, again 1 more year will get extended. So Kauravas came in search of Pandavas, and Krishna tells tells Bhima, dig a pit And all the Pandavas went inside, and he covered it and told Durvasa Rishi to sit on top of it. And those days, no sages will never speak utter untruth. So when all this Kaurava army came, in that time Ashwatthama comes and he sees Durvasa. So he knows Durvasa will always speak the truth, and he tells, and he knew they got this thing that Durvasa probably knows where Pandavas. He asks Durvasa, where are Pandavas? And Durvasa uses an anger tone. They are under me. And Durvasa was known for his anger, So of course he was sitting on the floor and they were underground. But because he spoke in an angry tone, that Ashwatthama ran off, because next moment it can be a curse. So Krishna, this is called tactfulness of, though Durvasa spoke the truth, but knowing who Durvasa is, and it never occurred. The anger and the fear of curse was more than the truth that he spoke, and he ran off. So Krishna, like that, so many sukshma buddhi, that is what sukshma buddhi is. We might have buddhi, but with Lord it is sukshma buddhi. He will pull us out of some absolutely impossible situation, and that is where that is the beauty of when we do nama japa. You will get that sukshma buddhi to handle rajasic obstacle when you do japa and dhyana. Then the last thing which comes with Hanuman is what Simhika. Simhika is also called Chayagrahi. So she had a boon that if any flying object is flying over the ocean, mostly it used to be birds, she can cast the shadow of the bird and the bird will come down and she will eat her. I mean, that was her way of satisfying her hunger. Unfortunately, she caught the shadow of Hanuman. And Hanuman comes and punches her, one punch and she's dead, okay? Because tamasic obstacle, which is not outside. That's why, rasic obstacle, you have to be tactful. You cannot be violent. Okay, you should not be rasic or tamasic. You have to use your politeness with the sattvic obstacle. You have to use your yukti, tactfulness with the rasic obstacle. But with tamasic, which is normally within us, when you get up in the morning at 4 o'clock and the temptation says 5 minutes or 15 minutes, no, you should jump out of the bed, wash your face. You should not go into a discussion or be polite or being tactful. With tamasic, there is no nonsense, no waste of time. You have to be like that with yourself. You have to be strict. And talking about Lankini is the symbol of ego. Okay, with ego also deserves. What did Hanuman do? Hanuman punches us on the mouth. Okay, on the face. So when it comes to your ego, you have to be so ruthless. Then only what happens? You can go and meet Mother Sita, who is the symbol of Jivatma. Like Rama is Paramatma. Paramatma sent Hanuman in search of Sita, and he is able to meet. So this is how we have to, in day-to-day life, meet the obstacles, whether it is sattvic, whether it is rajasic, whether it is tamasic, or it is our own ego, and then only we come sit face to face. And the day we sit face to face with Mother Sita, that day will be called Mangalam, and as we say, Mangalvar is the day when Hanuman had actually met Sita. So this is where we have to understand the guna dynamics also. Swami tells that tamasic is sleep, where you're not even having any laksha goal. There's no pointedness. Rasic is you're distracted. You want this, you want that. There's nothing like a single point. Single pointedness is sattvic. You have to learn from Hanuman. His focus was search of Sita. So he was very focused. Maina came, okay, thank you very much. I'll come later. Thank you. I appreciate that. Then what is it? Surasa comes. He uses his siddhi. Okay, he has. He uses power of becoming big and small, and he tactfully came out. Simika, he dealt a blow. No waste of time. Lankini dealt a blow, no waste of time, and meet Sita. So that is how we should be in our life, So one very important thing that comes in this episode is, look at Mother Sita meeting Hanuman and Ravana. Okay, so we have to. This is a very beautiful lesson in Mahabharata, which directly talks about the character. Is we always misunderstand. We want to have a beautiful house, we want to have a beautiful career, we want to have everything beautiful because we want to be beautiful, and with the beautiful beauty we want to earn the attention and love of the people. Okay, that is what the human psyche is. And same thing which Ravana did, he had the best of everything. Best of elephant, he had Airavat, he had the best of ornaments, everything, and every time he will send all this gift to Sita through his Rakshasi, but Sita will not even look at it. He was trying to impress Sita with all the thing. Okay, in fact, once somebody says, this is a compliment, somebody says, Ravana, you're trying to impress Sita in so many ways. Why don't you change into a form which is so dear to her, which is Rama, And those days they had this power to change their form. So Ravana could actually change the form into Rama. But this is the beauty of Ravana's reply. Ravana says, if I change my form into the form of Rama, I will not even have desire. That is the beauty of Lord's form, He is absolutely desireless. Now, what is the point in going into a desireless mode? That at the moment desire is not there for Sita, what is the point of going near Sita? So that's a compliment. So, but Ravana tried all this and it didn't work. Look at Hanuman, an ape, a monkey in form. Yet Sita was all eyes on him because he was chanting Ramanam. So the Rama, the Gudam, the virtue made it beautiful. Sita loved Rama's name. Because she loved Rama's name and Hanuman was chanting Rama, 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 Hanuman look beautiful to him. And in fact, Hanuman is also called so many Ayodhya Kanda is there, so many Kandas are there in Ramayanas. Sundara Kanda is all about Hanuman. And why it is called Sundara? Sundara means beautiful. And Hanuman was beautiful because his character was so beautiful. God sees the inner beauty. We have to see inner beauty more than because external beauty will fade off after some time. But the inner beauty grows day by day, day by day, day by day. So that is what we have to remember. So, and what gives this external beauty, this inner beauty is Japa and Dhyana. It makes your character so beautiful. So then the last thing, this is the last slide, and the question is, so much of effort, cultivation. When you're cultivating, it involves so much of effort. Is it all worth it at the end of the day? Is it all worth it? So much of discipline. Anybody will run away from if this is Bhakti Marga, and if this is what is required. Now, some people might say, I'm comfortable in my comfort zone. Maybe I'll postpone it for the next birth. Some people might say that, So you should know what you're signing up for. And in the whole thing, Swami is saying it's really worth it. And I'll come to that slowly. See, Swami says, for example, you have to use Viveka and Vairagya. Viveka and Vairagya. You have to be selective of what you pick. You cannot be like a housefly. You have to be like a honeybee. Okay. And Swami tells your real identity is Jnana, Vairagya, Ishwarya, Saundarya, Kirti. This is what you are. And you're supposed to be experiencing that. But however, if you want to experience that, you have to go through the 8 gates of Yama, Niyama, Pranayama, Asana, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. Okay, you have to go through all this. Then you will be eligible for this. And Swami says, some people say, okay, I have 5% of weakness, 95% I'm good. But 5% of curd or 1% of curd in the pot is enough to make the 100% milk into 100% curd. So, of course, see, God sees the effort. Your sincerity, we are not perfect, we are human beings, but what he really sees is your sincerity. You have to be true to yourself, that's what God sees. So when it comes to sincerity, you should be 100%. Okay, there should not be any. Now Swami has warned that that you will be moved. It's like swimming. See, if the water is flowing from top to down, it's easy to float along and go. That's what it is, but if you want to reach the source, source of the water, which is on the top of the mountain, you have to go to Gomukh. You have to go against the tide of Ganga. You have to go, and which is very arduous, which is difficult. Okay, but even as you're chanting Ram, 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 Ram. When the Vanar Sena was making the bridge, Ram, Ram, Ram. The Rama, when we do, Nama Japa, the energy comes from that. The soul energy comes. We should do it. So, but it is, as Swami told one devotee, it is simple, but it is not easy. So there's a difference between simple and easy. Simple is because it is doable. That's why it is called simple. But it is not easy because it is not that something which will happen automatically. You have to put your effort. So Nama Japa, Sadhana is simple, but it is not easy. It is not like, it will happen if you don't put an effort. You have to put an effort. So if you start putting the effort, fanning, hand fan, the air is coming, seeing your sincerity, God will send a wind. It is not like lifelong you have to do that. Always in the beginning, when the rocket is being launched, to break the gravity, the initial stage is difficult. After that, once it is outside the atmosphere, it doesn't require that much of fuel. In fact, 70 to 80% of the fuel of the rocket is required in the initial launching stage. And most of the people give up. We should not give up. All the leadership program, don't give up. This is the beginning. This is the time when you have to hold on. This is the time when you have to be strongest. Yeah, the determination, the perseverance has to be strongest. Yes, it is difficult. But after some time, when you go ahead, it is not going to be as steep as it was in the beginning. After that, you'll start enjoying it. It will become your second nature. And then it's all about holding on till then. Don't give up in the beginning. So, yeah, and this is also one very powerful example which Swami says, many of us follow our feeling. I felt like doing this, I felt like doing that. I want to follow my feeling, but your feeling, Swami says your feeling might not always be true. People say there's a very common term, follow your heart, follow your feelings, But see, the example Swami gives us, you're sitting in a train which is in the platform, and you're looking out of the window that side, one more train is going by. As the train is going by, at that time, when you're looking at the train, you will feel that as if your train is moving. I'm sure all of us have experience, have traveled in the train. You will feel that your train is moving, but actually your train is not moving. Okay, how do you know? When you look that side towards the platform, you see the platform, everything is stationary. So when you look at the platform, you know that you're not moving, but when you look at that side, you feel that you're moving. So Swami says, see, your feelings can also be wrong. So don't always go by your feeling. You have to use your buddhi, you have to use your discrimination. You have to apply the Bala concept. Is it binding action or liberating action? Okay. So, of course, in the beginning, as I said, there are stages of excellence. In the beginning, it is difficult. Now, if you understand this, now this you can apply in your material life also, career life, or everywhere. There's always a 4 stage of competence. The first stage is where, for example, I give an analogy. Suppose a child is born. It does not know as a baby what is cycle. For example, I'm giving cycle. It doesn't know. It is unconscious. See, the first thing is unconscious. I put it in short form. Uncon is unconscious. And of course, it doesn't know how to cycle. It is incompetent also. It is unconscious. It is incompetent. Then it grows. It becomes 3-4 years, and it is seeing the cycle. His uncles, bhaias, and everybody is riding the cycle, and he's conscious of something called a cycle. He knows what cycle is, but he's still incompetent. Then slowly he grows into like 10, 12 years old, and he sits in the cycle with his father is standing next to him, or his brother or friends, and he's very conscious when he's learning. All of us have learned driving. In the stage when we are learning, at that time we're very conscious and we are learning. We're just getting into the grow of it. So we are conscious and we are competent. Okay, then slowly we go into a phase where we are unconscious. We don't have to be, conscious of, when to change the gear, all that. Okay, so we don't have to be conscious all that. We become unconscious and we become competent. When it becomes natural, it becomes a second nature. Same thing with any practice, Japa and Dhyana. We actually, what happens, we go into conscious competent stage where we are applying and we find it difficult and we give up. When you're driving car, the first thing of transition between when you're going to release the clutch and press the accelerator, the car jumps and all that. If after 2-3 jumps, oh my god, this is dangerous, you get on, you stop learning car. No, that's not right. You have to keep doing it till you get the hang of it. So unfortunately, in spirituality or in most of the spiritual practice, we give up just with little bit of jerk, with oh my god, this is not for me. No, you have to continue trying. That is what it is. And once you cross that, what a joy, the freedom that you get of experiencing what it is, the spiritual fruit Swami talks about. Atmano mokshartam jagat hitaya cha. Now, all of us, you're being trained for the leadership program. Of course, you have to be involved in the society. If without being antarmukha, you directly go for bahirmukha approach, there is a 99% chance of becoming egoistic, because I am doing seva, I am so and so position holder, I am this, I am that. If you do antarmukha, that's what Dhyana Vahini does, and you come in touch with your real identity, which is Atman, which is God, and you realize the same Atma is sitting in the person whom you are serving, you will never serve him with an ego, because Swami says, when you are actually serving to remove the pain in your heart. Okay, so when you serve that person, you are removing the pain in your heart, but biologically we are not connected. In what way we are connected? The spiritually. Now, why you're having the pain is because at some level, at the basis level, we are one. So when you serve him, you serve yourself. So when you are doing Atmano Mokshartham Jagat Hitayacha, only doing Atmano Mokshartham is not what Swami has prescribed. Only doing Jagat Hitayacha is also, because both are complementary. Both are complementary. Both have to go hand in hand, and then only you will ripen as a real devotee, and ultimate destiny of human life will attain. Okay. And if you go by the 4th chapter where Swami says, you are millions and billions of years back, there was amoeba, and there was lava, amoeba, few trace of amoeba was there in some water, but lava was everywhere. Nobody could have imagined 5 billion years down the line, there'll be something called, today we see music, we see arts, we see dance, life is full of biodiversities and beauty. Nobody would have imagined 5 billion years back that such a thing was possible, to the fact that even God will come into a human form and walk and interact in love. So the amoeba's journey, you can imagine, and look at our journey. Everything is ready-made, everything has been given, but still we are in the Duryodhana dilemma, is because we are not giving up. You have to make little effort of giving up the things, and then you see what beauty is awaiting. So Swami, in fact, once told one student, no, I created billions and billions of stars and galaxies, rotated Earth and around the sun, just so that I can come and talk with you and enjoy. So if you want to say, if there is a possibility that your yearning and your sadhana can earn you a proximity and interaction with Bhagwan, it is really worth it. Really worth it in the sense, Swami says in Bhagavad Vahini, an avatar is a concretization of a devotee's yearning. He will materialize. He will come for you. And believe it, brothers, it is really worth it. So, if you were to say Japa and Dhyana, I mean, I built the case right from the beginning, how to come out of dilemmas, having what perspective and of life, what makes the life complete in the real complete sense. And all this is possible if we have the discipline of Japa and Dhyana. We should follow the discipline of Japa and Dhyana. I think with this, my presentation ends. Sairam, brothers, I am ready for questions now.
Thank you so much, brother. And that was so energizing today, Sunday morning, this session and summarizing of the chapters. So I would like to open this platform for the participants to raise their hands, or you can write the question in the chat and ask with our brother Ganesh.
Sairam, I guess I have some problem with the camera. Am I audible?
Yes, brother.
You're very much audible. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Brother Ganesh, for a wonderful session. And I really experiencing that Dhyana Vahini, when Swami named that Vahini, not only the book, the discussions till now are also like a stream. And we are just, enjoying the ride in the stream. And my one question is that you have explained the story of Krishna at the Yamuna river, explaining about the stone and the silk dhoti and sugar candies. You have given the analogy on the stone, why the stone is, how we are like stones, and you ended that there. And I just need the explanation for the silk dhoti and sugar candies as well, like why we will be like, because as you mentioned, good and bad are always in within us, in one person. And these three stages, like being a stone and being a silk dhoti as well as the sugar candy kind of situations, are also common in us, three of us. So I just need a small explanation there, how to identify and how to be always as a sugar candy.
Yeah, sure. See, we have to understand the context here. When you actually go for cultivating the soil, first you have to burrow it. First you have to make it loose. The soil has to be loosened. Okay. Then only you can put the seeds inside. Then the seed has to enter the soil. It has to be loose. Soil has to be loose. Right. Same thing, the seeds of good qualities, if it has to enter us, if we are, what is rock? Rock means, again, it's something which doesn't allow anything to go inside. It has to be loosened. It has to be cracked. Sometimes some life, see, there are two types of tragedies in life. One is the minor tragedy, which happens every day, day to day, the small procrastinations that we do. Some things we have put off, we are supposed to do, we just procrastinated. Some things which we are supposed to not do, we still do it. We are procrastinating not to put them into practice. So these are small tragedies, and there are second tragedy, which are major tragedies. It can be like, failure in some examination, or all this small tragedy leads to the major tragedy, So the major tragedies, sometimes partially they are in our hand, and sometimes it is not. Like, for example, an accident, it is not in our hand. Okay. It is not accident or something like that, or national, some war has taken place in some country. Those things are tragic experiences. It is not in our hand. Now, in the context of this Yamuna river story, if you see, the direct difference between stone and silk is silk absorbs. It absorbs the water. It allows it to enter. Okay, which the stone doesn't do. So in the context of silk and stone, it is about allowing the goodness. In this example, it was water. but actually it is the good qualities to enter. If it has to enter, well, then no point putting water on a stone. Okay, so you're telling so many things, but it is not. It is just the person, because he doesn't want to change himself. So when we start doing japa and dhyana, when we start giving up certain actions and activities and inputs to our senses, automatically there are some cracks which comes, and the stone becomes kind of permeable and porous. Okay, and to the extent that it slowly transmutes itself into a silk. So silk is an absorbing thing. It immediately takes, but it also loses also. The disadvantage of silk, as much as it fast absorbs the water, it also gets evaporated. It means it dries up again. So how long you will be like, you soak. And so what Krishna says is you have to transmute yourself from silk to sugar candy, where the nature, because once you are in touch with that divinity, it's a process. Gradually, as chemists, we see the solubility of the salt. Some salt are very soluble. Immediately you put NaCl, dissolves. Some salts are insoluble. Some salts are partially soluble. You have to shake the vessel so much, after that it dissolves. So basically what I'm talking about, you increase your solubility. So first thing is porosity. You're allowing the thing to enter. From rock, you have become like a silk. And from silk, now you're changing your nature into that you become one with it. Silk will not dissolve into the water. It will never happen. But the more you start identifying or realizing your identity with Atma, that you are, the body and intellect, the body and mind identity that we so strongly have, will start taking a back seat. And over a period of time, it will become nothing. It will just means you become a Jivan Mukta. You are Atma. That's what Jivan Muktas are. They have already got the liberation. Okay, they have realized their Atma. So they are in their body and intellect they have, but they are Atma. So that is the essence. Now, in terms of applying this analogy into action is, if I have to be more receptive, if I have to, you go into seva, it kind of erodes your ego. Okay, it kind of, suppose you might be a very accomplished or erudite scholar, but if you are suppose given a Kulvanthal duty, or maybe you're standing outside North Indian canteen, your duty is timely devotees are going. That's your duty. It has nothing to do with your identity of mental or intellectual capabilities. You're there to serve your fellow pilgrims. Okay, so that's what seva does. It kind of loses for that 2 weeks. You are identifying yourself as a servant of Lord. You're serving the devotees of Lord. So that new identity, you're bringing in slowly. So that's a small crack in your hardcore identity that I'm a professor or I'm so and so. So because you don't limit your identity to that, because that identity is to do with your intellectual and mental capabilities. But you're not just that. You are something more beyond that. That is divinity. So seva is one thing. Swadhyaya is one thing. Japa and Dhyana is one thing. So that is the context that you should understand. And from there, as you go deeper and deeper, that's why the stage of, they say we start with brahmacharya, then we go into grahasthashram, then we go into vanaprastha, then sannyasa. So vanaprastha is a stage where you're retired from active participation into in the world, where you're officially at 60, you retire. Now you're supposed to do dhyana. So that is the time when you're supposed to be shifting from silk to sugar candy. Okay, but every day, there's 24 hours. So every day you have got that japa and dhyana time. Okay, nobody stops you from absolutely being one with, or trying to achieve that oneness from that you want to experience. So that is something which needs to be cultivated. So slowly you're shifting your gear. I hope I made sense to your question.
Yes, brother, and you have answered few other questions as well. So, thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Brother Ganesh, for asking that, such a good question. And thank you, Brother Ganesh, for answering in such a, deep way. Thanks for that. Next, we would be having Brother Jeevan from Karnataka. Please unmute yourself and be on the camera if possible.
Sairam, brother. Thank you so much for the session, brother. Like it's high, very relatable, and the way how you explain overcoming hurdles and giving the analogy of Lord Hanuman is very relatable. So
you're already ready on the beach, I think. You're ready to jump. I can see the beach behind you.
It's a background. Brother, my question is, there is a continuous mention about giving more focuses on the eternal bliss, but not giving much emphasis on the material positions. Now, my question is how can we relate this to our professional careers, where almost every action we do is chasing goal, or most of them are result oriented? How can we adapt this analogy into our professional life?
This is what it is. I think we have to see things with the right perspective. When Swami says nishkama karma, there's something called goal setting. Okay, we have to have goals. Yesterday, somebody had asked how to increase self-confidence. One of the way of also increasing self-confidence is you set goals, you achieve it. You small goals and you go for higher goals. It kind of builds credential in you. That is also one way. Now, suppose you're a tennis player. I'm giving an example. You're a tennis player. This again, Swami has given in some instances. You're playing tennis. Your attention should be on playing tennis, not every time looking at the scoreboard. If you're half the time looking at the scoreboard, no, see what is happening. The perspective with which our ancients have given. Don't think about the result. Result is an outcome. It's a corollary theorem. It comes naturally. Suppose you're playing. You look. Again, you play. You're half the time you're looking at the score and you're getting tensed. Okay, when Tendulkar is batting, his attention is on the ball. He's not automatically the score gets reflected. He is not worried about whether he's hitting 50 or 100. It is natural. So when you're in your career also, it is like you have to have goal. You have to have goal and you have to sincerely work about it. So what Krishna is telling in the terms of result is, don't get affected by the result. You give your best and leave the rest. See, if the result is good, you're in 7th heaven. If it is bad, you're depressed. So what happens when you're either way, when you're extreme, either you're too elated or you're too down, you will not be in your best performance. You cannot give your best performance. The whole thing about yoga is yoga karmasu kaushalam. You should be in a performing stage where you're at your best. And that best comes with equanimity. They once recently, I think 3-4 years back, VVS Lakshman had come into college and he was giving us interview. He was interacting with the students. So he told one thing, Australians, they're known for sledging. The sledging, they always, trigger the batsman, say something, comment, and they get emotional, they get angry, and then they do some mistake. The chances of doing mistake is more when you're not equanimous, you're not, when you're emotionally. So, but two people they never sledged was Sachin Tendulkar and VVS Lakshman. Okay, and third was Rahul Dravid also. Because the more they had gained the mastery over the mind, because they know what to filter. Whatever you say, it doesn't matter because my attention is in the ball. Right? They're karma yogis, real karma yogis, because your attention should be on the ball. So right now, suppose you go to a job, okay, your assignment, your attention should be the quality of your attention also automatically takes care of the result. So it doesn't mean Swami says don't think of the no. Result is an automatic thing here. If I eat food, naturally my hunger is satiated. I don't wait. I mean, I don't think about satiating my hunger. Swami said no. It is an outcome. So result is an outcome. So when you are doing your best, automatically things are taken care of. I hope you got the perspective in which Swami has told this and this understanding is important.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much for this. Next, we would be having Brother Mayank from Rajasthan. Please unmute yourself and be on the camera.
Yes, Sairam.
Brother.
Thank you for beautifully summarizing. I had a question in the start of the session. You also mentioned the concept of Bala and also the thing that you should have your own intellect in answering, is this, what type of action is it? You also mentioned that you should answer it for yourself. Would I do it in front of Bhagwan or would it be something that is acceptable? My question is that this kind of using your own intelligence is very subjective. Something that might be, bad for me, somebody else might not look like at it in that sense. And also even for me, as I grow, as I move forward, my knowledge will change. Maybe I'm ignorant at this time. Tomorrow I learn something. Maybe something that I feel bad today, maybe tomorrow it might happen. I feel, okay, it is normal. So even when I'm talking to other people, even if I'm comparing my own thoughts, that subjectivity is there in this. So this kind of conundrum is there. What is good for me might not be, good for the other person. What is good for me today might not be good in other time. So how to fight that? Is there like a universal, like something, okay, this is always there, or does it also switch?
So I will give an example. Nice question, brother. There are two things that I want to say. One is, Swami says a definition of a human being is you believe your experience. 100 people might come and say this is not so. You are experiencing something. You have to believe on your own experience. Number one. Number two, I'll give an episode from Swami's life only. Swami, this is the context of Desha Kala Paristhiti. Desha means place, Kala means time, and Paristhiti means situation. Okay. So once there was some meeting which was going on in the Brindavan. Brindavan is Whitefield Ashram. Swami has got an ashram there, and Swami was organizing one lunch. Okay, Swami was a very good host. Okay, very very good host. Atithi Devo Bhava, one should learn from Bhagwan. So Swami had designated the task of food preparation to one set of teachers. So one of the teachers was sharing the experience of the interaction with Swami. So Swami came inside the kitchen to see the preparation, whether everything is ready or not, because after half an hour, 45 minutes, the guests were going to come. And since this is South India, there were 2-3 varieties of sambar, 2-3 varieties of curries, Sambar itself, there were 2-3 varieties, drumstick sambar was there, there was radish sambar was there. Okay, so because, so Swami was like, when he pampers, okay, when he gives the best. So then that sir was shifting. He was coming with a sambar vessel and he was entering the kitchen, and in kitchen nobody was there because people were setting up the counter outside in the dining hall. So Swami, he was going out of the kitchen with a sambar vessel, and Swami enters. Okay, and Swami says, "What is this?" So he says, "Swami, sambar." Swami says, "I can see it is sambar, but which sambar is it?" Then he starts shaking the vessel like that. So he was hoping that the piece will come up, whether it is radish sambar or drumstick will come up. So he was shaking like that. Swami told, "I did not tell you to dance. I asked you which sambar is it." He said, "Swami, I'm trying to get that, piece." Arey, Swami told, "You smell it, no? You'll know what it is." And he smelled and told Swami, "This is radish sambar. Go outside and put it in the counter." Okay. So this episode happened, and after half an hour, 45 minutes, all the guests have come. Swami is going around and blessing all the devotees and all the guests. And this same sir, the same teacher, he's shifting one of the sambar vessel from one counter to another counter. Okay, he was shifting, and as he was shifting, one of the VIPs guests, he said, "What is that?" He says, "It is sambar." "Which sambar?" And immediately smells. Okay, and he tells, "It is so and so sambar." And Swami sees that. Okay, Swami sees that, and he puts the sambar, and he's in the other counter, and he's coming back, and Swami aankh se ishara karta. Swami looks at him like this. He does, calls him inside the kitchen, bolts, and Swami 5 minutes non-stop. Swami blasts him out of shape. Okay. He uses all the vocabulary in Telugu, and food chain is covered. Dog, pig, everything. And this sir is he has no idea why Swami is so upset. What has he done wrong? He has no idea. So then he says, "Swami, what did I do?" Then Swami told, "How can you smell the sambar and tell which sambar it is?" Then he told, "Swami, you only taught me just half an hour, 1 hour back." Then Swami told, "That is inside the kitchen, not outside the kitchen." Okay. Now, you should use your common sense. You should use your discrimination. Even if I tell you what to do, it is under a particular desha kala paristhiti. When Swami told him, it was inside the kitchen. Our mothers, they also cook food when the guests come. They'll touch ki namak kame ki nahi. Salt is. You do the same thing in front of the guest. Will they even touch it? But her intention is what? It is just to see the salt level is fine. So there is desha kala paristhiti. So what you said today might be right. After some 20 years of maturity you have to practice at this moment, according to the desha kala paristhiti, the best of your understanding, what needs to be done. Swami has given us the freedom to use our desha kala paristhiti, and what Swami says is common sense. At that moment, when outside the thing, he just put what Swami told. Okay, but Swami told you should have used your brain at that time. Can you even smell and give food to anybody? Somebody asks you food, can you smell and give? And Swami has told this. So same Swami corrected him. God has given, but you have to understand the desha kala paristhiti in which that message was given, and you have to act. And that is why, as we do Japa and Dhyana, as we do Swadhyaya, we know overall what is expected and what is dharma. So that maturity comes. And at that moment, when the situation arrives, to the best of your introspection, there's nothing like a blueprint. This is what has to be done. Swami was never like, a radical or fatalistic kind of thing. Ye Quran mein likha hai ya fir ye Bhagavad Gita mein likha hai. No. Even Krishna allowed Arjuna to ask so many questions. If you look, it's a question answer thing. So that is the beauty of Sanatan Dharma, that the student is allowed to ask and is not too radically made to believe you blindly, you follow this. No, it's not like that. So I hope this instance makes it clear that there is nothing like a blueprint. We have to overall understand the desha kala paristhiti and use our common sense. That you should not cause hurt. You should not cause hurt to anybody as much as possible. And one person actually, one corporate giant, he asked Swami in Trai, "Swami, today's decision, what I have to make, it is not about good and bad. It is about bad and worse. It is just that one of the thing is going to do less damage to the other. then how do I choose the less bad than the more bad? And then Swami says, to choose the less bad compared to more bad, you have to use sukshma buddhi, subtle intelligence. And that comes if you are practicing a dharmic life in day-to-day life. If you're having a dharmic life, automatically the sukshma buddhi will come. So if you're practicing if you're doing japa dhyana, if you're doing seva, and if you're doing thought, word, and deed, if you're trying that trikarana shuddhi of thought, word, and deed, all that you're doing as an effort and offering to Swami, he will give you the subtle intelligence, what is called subtle intelligence. I'm not talking about intelligence, sukshma buddhi, and you will take the right decision. I hope I could kind of address your query.
To summarize it for myself, that discrimination, it's like you make efforts to do that discrimination, like you at least will be better.
It comes.
Practice.
See, actually, it's a way of life. It comes with practice, and it is not. See, life is an extempore. Life is an extempore. Many things you have to take a decision at that moment, but the decision comes out of your character and personality. The character is something which is built every day, every time, every small action. There is a dog which is crossing, you slow down your scooter. It's not that you just hit it and go. Okay, or there is it is basically your svabhava. The moment we say that same divinity is everywhere, you start seeing the ants, you will put some rice for a bird which might be coming into the, I'm saying there, when you see yourself in everyone, you'll always be loving, you'll not hurt yourself. Will you ever hurt yourself? In fact, you will try to help. So there is the complete transformation in your approach of life. You will change as a person.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. The next we would be having Sai Krishna from Maharashtra. Brother, can you please unmute yourself and be on the camera?
Yeah, hi, Haram brother, and sorry for the camera. I'm having some network issue here. Haram brother, thank you so much for summarizing the chapters and Dhyana Vahini, and specifically the example you give, that who controls you, that hit really hard, and arise a nice question in my mind. But my question is regarding while cultivating the good qualities and the ideal life that Swami expects us to lead, while doing that, there's some weed that just didn't got removed even after trying so much, even after becoming conscious that okay, so I should not be getting angry in this situation, but for one situation we control the state of mind, but in another situation we just get angry and blast out on someone or somebody. So how to get more conscious, and how to control those situations where our instincts are so much in not favor of us.
So I will give two perspectives to this.
Yeah.
Okay, two or three. One is of course Swami says about anger management. No, the Swami has given simple examples, like when you get angry, when you feel that you're going to get angry, just go and drink one glass of cold water, or look yourself, carry your mirror. Look at yourself in the mirror. You look at yourself. These are some small tips. Or go for a long walk. Or avoid a situation where there's going to be argument. Just avoid and go away. These are some of the tips. Okay. But just one perspective is, one person was sitting on a fishing boat, okay, and he was fishing, okay, and a lot of concentration is required for the fishing, okay. So, and he was fishing, and suddenly when he feels he has got the fish, there's one more boat which comes and hits his boat from the behind, and he gets angry. Who's this? And he turns, and it's actually an empty boat, okay. So all his anger vanishes in a second. He was getting, you need a target for an anger. Okay.
Yeah.
Normally the target is ego. That is one perspective. Okay. So that is one. Second is, sometimes we don't know the complete situation. For example, once one person was, sitting in the bus stop, and he sees one more person coming, and his two children were crying, and they were making a lot of noise, and everybody in the bus stand was getting annoyed, and this person is not making any effort to silence those kids, and they're crying, and they're this, and then his anger is getting, frustration is getting built up, and he's he with a lot of control, he goes and tells him, why don't you make an effort to take care of your children? Then that guy is as if coming back to consciousness, and sense, and says that, oh, I'm sorry, I just lost my wife in the hospital 2 hours back. And so when he says that, no, the whole perception of the situation changes for the other person. Now he's not trying to control his anger. Suddenly it is substituted with pity and sympathy, and he says, oh, I'm so sorry, I did not know that, can I do something about it? So many times, no, we don't know the other side situation, and we have already made a judgment. So one thing is, you first always, they say, giving a benefit of doubt, always give a benefit of doubt to the other side. Now suppose and the other person is deliberately trying to take a dig on you and trying to target you, then you have to have a very straight to straight conversation. You have to talk it out, you have to communicate what you're going through, and you have to share the notes. And when you're doing it, you do in a very detached kind of way. You should not take anything personally. And if that is happening, see, the more, again, see, it's like this. Most of us are trying to get answer intellectually. Okay. So what this Japa and Dhyana does, Japa and Dhyana, that's why I'm directly again taking you to the medicine itself. It kind of transmutes your character and personality. The more you do it, you will change yourself. You will see, there's so much difference between a silk and a sugar candy, and a rock and a silk. Actually, we are supposed to take this medicine, and even see, it's not like overnight it'll change. It is a process. Okay, it happens. But you should, when you're doing Japa and Dhyana, we should do your utmost sincerity and surrender. You should just give your best. So, see, anger comes. Anger is something, which is, anger can come because anger is very, see, Swami says, the mother of everything is desire, kama. So when the kama is satisfied, it leads to greed, that is lobha. You want more. When it is not satisfied, that is what you want is not happening, you get angry. So these are, you desire some respect, attention, or this thing, then you have to talk it out with that person. It's all about, talking out. But if somebody senior or is targeting, see, either they say either cure or endure, or you leave the place. So if you think you cannot leave, then you have to endure. But of course, you should not see. The Swami has told, when you get angry, your blood becomes hot for 3 months. In the 3 months, the amount of physical damage it does to your body is very bad. So suppressing anger is what not Swami is. Swami is not doing suppress the anger. Don't. It's not like artificially trying to smile inside, you're cursing him like anything. Swami never said that. Swami, this is misunderstood. You don't try to pretend to be what you are not, but you should go face to face and say, and try to work out a solution. And if suppose somebody is targeting you and somebody is behind you, then of course there are other ways of handling it. You can go to higher superiors, or you can actually walk away from that organization or whatever places, because no point building up anger inside and destroying your health and mental peace in the long run.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you so much. And Japa and Dhyana will give you the strength. It will give you the endurance. It will give you the tonic that is required to endure.
The peace.
That is what it is. That you should do, and you should allow it to function through you. Give it a chance.
Yes, brother. Thank you so much, Sairam.
Sairam.
Thank you so much, brother. And adding to it, I'm just remembering of one thing which I recently learned, that ego and ISO. ISO is used in the camera DSLRs. So ego and ISO, we need to keep it low, so that we know when we keep it low in real life, we would be having good memories. And when we will keep it low in the camera, we would be having good photos. So ego and ISO, we need to keep it low always. So with this, moving to the next brother. From Uttar Pradesh, brother Varun, can you please unmute and be on the camera and ask a question?
Sairam, brother. Thank you for a wonderful session. And a very simple question, actually, I have related to the Nam Smrana and Japa and Dhyana only. So, as Baba have mentioned that taking the analogy of mango, where he was saying that if you think a mango in a physical form, then your attention will go towards the texture of the skin of the mango and the other physical attributes associated with it. So he have said that it is superior to to concentrate on a name instead of the form. So in my experience, what happened when we start doing a namasmarana, the image comes inherently. Let's say if I am saying Sai Ram, then the image of the Baba is coming to the mind. And of course, there are some, the focus goes to the physical attributes as well. So, so how is it correct? I mean, is it a correct? I mean, is it fine to go? I mean, that way. So I just got a bit. It is very much associated with each other. So what you want to say? I mean, what
Yeah.
Baba actually
So
suggests.
see. So it's like this. See, Swami has not put down the Rupa aspect. Okay, he's not putting it down. But when it comes to when you're comparing Nama and Rupa, the Nama and Rupa, Nama has certain advantages, or in some ways it is better. Now, for example, if you say Krishna, 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 okay, so you're sitting and your eyes are closed and there's a Krishna's idol. Always we start, see, the Dhyana, which is meditation. Swami first says in one of the discourse, you start with concentration, and then you go into contemplation, and then you enter meditation. It is 3 steps: concentration, contemplation, and meditation. Contemplation on what? Contemplation on the various leelas of that particular form. Suppose you're fond of Krishna, for example, or suppose you're fond of Swami. So what are the leelas? What are the things like Krishna is a Govardhan Giri? Okay, that Kalia Mardhan episode is there. So many things are there. Okay, so you can actually, when you read the Bhagavatam, and all that, those episodes. So when you sit, when you sit for bhajans, so always first bhajans or any sadhana, first thing that you should do is you should create a ecosystem in your mind, that what are you entering into. Okay, I am now sitting in front of, suppose you want to chant Krishna. Who is Krishna? There are so many leelas. So if you're reading Bhagavatam, so again, like yesterday I mentioned, there is, in any Bhagavatam, there are 2 rasas which are very sweet. One is Karuna rasa. Karuna is from the Lord, and there is a Bhakti rasa, yearning from the devotee. So when the Bhakti and Karuna meets, that union is the sweetness that we are looking for. So from your side, you are putting your yearning forward. Okay, and from that side, he's also, in fact, one of the students, when he joined into MBA, okay, for 1 year, he was running behind Swami's physical. He was trying to get Swami's attention. Swami did not look at him also, didn't speak to him. And second year, Swami called him for interview, and he wanted to pour out, like, what all I did to get your one attention, one conversation. Swami, before he could open his mouth, Swami told, I waited for you for so many births. Before he could say that last 1 year I've been running, Swami says, I've been waiting for so same thing for all of us. He is the one who is waiting. So Karuna Rasa is waiting to, the Divine Mother is waiting with the milk to pour. Now your question is, when it comes to Rupa and Nama, okay, there are certain advantages of Nama is you can chant anytime. You can actually, you're looking, see what happens. We cannot close our eyes and be function. You might be traveling in a bus, okay. But what happens, our eyes are already contacting so many things which are going, or we can be working. But Nama can be continuously going on. When you sit for Japa and Dhyana, okay, you can have the form in front of you. It's always, you're in front of the form, you're concentrating, you're looking at the beauty of Krishna or Rama or Satya Sai, you're chanting the name, then slowly you start contemplating of the episode or what you read about Swami the other day, or what you read about Krishna in Bhagavatam, and gradually close your eyes slowly. And the name chanting is going on, the form is there in your eyes, and slowly the form dissolves. Okay, and the name remains. And slowly, you stop the name also and you go into meditation. So Swami tells in terms of Rupa, there are certain disadvantage. Swami gives examples. Suppose in the name of physical masters, they leave. If you're too attached to the physical master also, it is not good. But the name is always eternal. It will always be there. Rama is not there anywhere. Krishna is not there. But their name is still there. Okay, Satya Sai Baba's form also is not there physically now. But his name is there. So, see, one thing is there. Again, as I said, there is no hard rule. Swami is always like drive slowly. Accidents, many times it's written accident zone. That doesn't mean accidents will happen there. Okay, you have to be careful. Swami is just giving indication. You have to drive. Okay, if you feel you're comfortable with the Rupa and you're getting, you feel that both are equally, you go ahead. That's nothing like, you have to eat. I have given you idli vada. It doesn't matter whether you eat idli first or vada first, or idli vada together. Swami has given you the food. Swami says, I've given you the recipe, you take it. But there are certain things with the form is you get attached to the form, and when the form leaves, you kind of, you go into some sorrow kind of thing. But name is not the thing. Name is always there.
Fine, brother. I got it.
I mean, one more thing is, there's nothing wrong with the form. Anything which helps you concentrate. See, it's concentration. If it helps you concentrate, then stick to it. And from concentration, no, in the form also, you're concentrating on the form, and slowly the form dissolves, the form vanishes. Because Swami says meditation is from akara, you have to become nirakara. Directly don't go into nirakara. Swami says it is very risky and tricky. Always start with akara. Akara, see, for example, if I'm having, Swami says, if I'm having a cup of tea, okay, the cup of the tea has got a shape, okay, but I'm interested in the tea, not in the cup. The cup is required for the tea to hold. I want to enjoy the tea. I'm not attached to the cup which is holding the tea. The tea is what I'm enjoying, but I need the cup. The cup has its role. So the nama is tattvam. Okay, the nama had to take a form. Nama had to be in a form so that it had to interact. Okay, but it is the love. See, so, again, I'm giving an example. It happens like, when Swami's example only. Swami says that suppose there's a body, okay, and people are saying, why did you leave? Why did you? Suppose a person has died. Why did you leave? The form is very much there. What is left? The life principle. So nama is it's like a life principle which is there. Form is just to identify, but you have to go beyond slowly. But don't try to accelerate. When you are learning, don't jump the cues. Enjoy the journey as it, and slowly you yourself, it will dawn as an understanding why it should leave. Nobody has to tell you. Don't follow what I'm saying. In the sense, I might be at particular stage of maturity and understanding. You might be you might be ahead also. I don't know. I'm not saying, but you go by your feeling and you mature. See, the mango takes its own time to mature, but in the same tree you will find two mangoes. One is more sweet, one is less sweet. One probably will need more time to sweeten. Okay, one should not jump the cues. I'm saying what you're doing is go in that flow on. But don't stop the sadhana, whatever it is. Whatever happens, don't stop some sadhana because of some doubt. Samshayatma vinashya.
Siren, brother, it's a beautiful explanation.
Yes.
Thank you, brother.
I'm through the question. Anything else?
Yeah. I got it. So basically, it's fine to have an imagination sign while doing Namasmran. There is that's a proper way
Any
of.
more questions?
Yeah, Siren, brother. I think your bandwidth is might low. So we have more two questions. Can we go ahead and ask? Okay, brother, we do have two more questions. Can we go ahead?
Yes, please. We'll finish it.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, brother, for that. So, brother from Mumbai Metro, Karthik, please unmute yourself and be on the camera. Sorry, it's
Sairam, brother Ganesh.
Sairam, Karthik, brother. Sairam.
Thank you so much for your for putting up this fabulous session. I would like to pinpoint one discussion that tale from the Mainak Parvat and Lord Hanuman, where Lord Hanuman obligingly tells Mainak Parvat that I am in Ram Seva right now, so I can't rest, I can't fulfill your desire. So I wanted to know how to actually say no to people without offending them. Because Mainak Parvat was kind of understanding, he did not hold grudge against Lord Hanuman for not fulfilling his desire. But in our lives, there are people who hold grudges for not prioritizing them. So that was my
see. So I'll tell you. Once you choose Satyasa, once you choose the path of Swami and the journey with Swami, when you start putting his teachings into your life, you have to be. In fact, Swami will take away many people from your life, and many new people will come. Okay. So what is not meant? See, people is what the time it is. I'm talking about time. So see, if a cup has to be filled, no, it has to be empty. If already some cups, it's already full, no? So what you have to prioritize is, if suppose some people are not understanding and they're not kind of, they're not meant to be, okay, your journey with them is, your Rinanu Bandhanam with them is over kind of thing. You have to move on. It's with all due respect. It's not that you are running away. I mean, if they decide to go, it's their choice. It's their call. So,
Yes.
and they should understand, a person who respects your time is your real friend. Okay, they really see, the many people will come. You cannot see, that's why you cannot please everybody, but you should please your conscience. Okay, because you're answerable to your conscience at the end of the day. So all these people or everybody, see, you give them their due respect. Swami also says, no, give any object its due respect, and that's it. Don't give it more than that. So yeah, some people, if they don't understand, come on, man, what is it that you're doing and all that? No, it really means, and as you're going deep into it, no, it requires a new kind of people, new set of people who are more focused and committed will come closer to you, and you will see that your vibrations has changed. See, the moment your vibration changes, no, you'll resonate with people with other vibration. The old vibrations become redundant. So as you get refined, and so your vibration itself is going higher, is going better, or is getting refined. So you need to spend more time with people who match in that vibration. Automatically other vibrations will fall off. You don't have to do much effort. And if they don't understand, it's good. They're on their own. They're going. No hard feelings.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Thank you. Sairam.
Thank you, brother. So we would be having today's last question, and then after we will be closing this session. Brother from West Bengal, please unmute yourself and be on the camera if possible.
Sairam, loving Sairam to all.
Sairam, Manoj, please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Sir, I just wanted to ask you, if we take how to take good decisions in life. For example, if we take a decision to buy a laptop, and we just put a card on EMI, and after a month, there are some issues financial, and we curse ourselves, why we have taken a decision, so before taking a decision, a proper decision, how to we have to do a planning, is if you can tell some experience with that.
Okay, so one thing is there. For example, that you are told about laptop. Okay, so always first thing, suppose you want to buy something or you want to do anything in the conventional format of setup. You always get in touch with some of our friends or colleagues whom we can trust and take their opinion. Number one. Okay, number one. Number two is we can ourselves go into the Google and see the reviews. Okay. Yes, number three is we can ourselves go see. We have to always do some pros and cons homework. Instead of doing everything, things might go wrong. Yes, it's not like we are living in the world which is like that. Okay, things might go wrong, but we don't have to beat us. See, sometimes there are some wrong decisions which happen, or we should not say that every time I make a decision, it is going wrong. Something is wrong with me. It should not affect your self-confidence, self-esteem in any way. Even if some people start commenting, But what you need to know is you have given your best in terms of sincere effort of doing the spade work initially that you should have done, then taken the decision. Okay, it's not like in the impromptu year that you took a decision. You have done the spade work, you have done the homework, you went and interacted with your colleagues, probably you've done some review, and then in spite of that, if something has gone wrong, it is it is not because you are faulty or your decision making skills are bad. See, one thing about decision making, the worst decision is not to make decision. That is a worst decision. Okay, not to make decision. The second thing is you have made the decision, and normally people who have made wrong decision, they should learn from the wrong decision, and next time they will make better decision. Okay, never stop taking decisions. That is my only advice. So things will go wrong and we learn from it, and then we move ahead, and so that we are better. And at least if not in future, we don't keep buying laptops. At least somebody who comes and approaches me for that same help, I'll be in a better way to guide him or her. That's how I see.
Yes. Sir.
So and some things, yeah, there are financial losses. See, I'll give example. Okay, Swami says, suppose you're in a dream. Okay, so because we are in the context of Dhyana Vahini speaking. Okay, when we are keeping that big subset of Atma Dharma and all that stuff. Swami says, when you're in a dream and suppose a cobra comes and bites you. Okay, you don't run to the hospital. You might rush. You don't rush to. The best thing is to wake up from the dream, you know. The dream's poison and the dream cobra is gone. Same way, we are relatively living in a, we don't have to take things so seriously. The more moral of the story is, no, yes, as long as the dream is there, it is, the cobra is real, the pain is real, everything is there. As long as we are aware of this reality, the financial loss bites, okay, people's behavior hurts us. It is true. But we have to be always aware there is a higher reality about this reality that we are living. Just like that is why the dream experience is there. We wake up, we sleep, we have a dream and we wake up. We know the dream is unreal, and actually we are all, this also is relatively unreal, and there is a higher experience in when you experience that, no, this becomes like bacha, like chota chota chheez. So that is why we have to start cultivating atmic experience, which comes by japa and dhyana. So these worldly things will happen, but it will not affect you as much as it is affecting now, because this is all that you know as a world that you are. Understood, no? So
Yes, sir.
that is why spirituality gives us the strength, because it identifies us with an unshakable truth that we are. And the more you are identifying with that, no, these things will not affect, and these things will not happen also. The frequency might reduce, or even if it happens, you'll not be affected. You will not be kind of affected so badly.
Yes, thank you so much. Really blessed to have your class on this day, sir. It's really nice. Thank you, sir. Sairam, sir.
My pleasure. Thank you, Sairam.
Thank you,
So
brother.
one question was sent quickly. Varun, please read it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Please read.
thank you, brother. So there is one last question we would be taking for today's session. So it is from the brother Sai Kumar from the Andhra Pradesh. He's asking, though we try to good on good qualities, good interactions, which do not affect our inner things, yet some things, entities, or interactions when come to meet us automatically, we experience some kind of bad thoughts, deeds, or talks maybe. How to get rid of it? Though it's a slow process in order to get on a ship of goodness, I think there should be constant development or improvement. How this constant improvement will develop in us without disturbing our inner sense. You know, the inner sense fighting of thoughts. If we meet these type of things in our daily life continuously in order to avoiding our dhyana towards other things, how this can be adopted by meditation as it is a continuous process.
The example which comes in my mind is once one of the teachers, had gone for some board meeting in the Puttaparthi, and the Swami called him for interview, and Swami told any questions from the students. So I'm talking about the students who are in their late teenage, 18, 19, 20 years, and two instances comes in my mind right now. The one instance, I'll finish this one, and the second one I'll tell later. The Swami says, any question from the boys, and the teacher says, a lot of students are saying that a lot of bad thoughts are coming in the mind, at this age. A lot of bad thoughts are coming. What is the solution, Swami? How do we fight it? And Swami, takes one paper, one envelope, and rolls it. He rolls it and gives it to him, and tells him, make it straight. So the teacher opens it and it again rolls back. We have all purchased new calendars. We all know we have purchased new calendars, and when we roll it, it rolls back. Okay. So Swami took the letter and rolled it in the reverse direction. Then it became straight. We all know that when a new calendar is purchased, we have to roll it in the opposite direction so that it becomes straight. So anything bad, don't fight with it. It's fighting is like, you're rolling the calendar, you're making it straight, again it rolls back. It's like I'm trying to fight it, I'm fighting it. No, that is not the way. Swami says Pratipaksha Bhava. You start a new good habit, a new good practice. Automatically the bad is taken care of. It will take time, but gradually it will go away. It will go away. So one approach is, if you think, why am I getting this, or why these bad thoughts are coming and on, that is one thing. Okay, but it doesn't help. Doesn't help. In the long run, it doesn't help. But when you start a new thing, japa, dhyana, and that's why japa and dhyana is more delicate, because in terms of mind, and so that's why Swami said seva. Seva is something like physical. You go out and do some service. Some good turn. When you do something good, your self-worth, your self-respect increases. Okay. And you start, when your self-respect increases, automatic self-respect is again self-respect as capital S, it increases. Your strength and your assertiveness of buddhi to tell the bad things no becomes stronger. You become stronger. So seva, japa, dhyana kind of helps. So when you automatically, this kind of weakens up. That is one thing. Second thing is one student asked Swami in Kodaikanal, Swami, a lot of bad thoughts, dirty thoughts are coming now. Swami says, see, it is natural to have rain in the rainy season. Okay, nothing wrong in it. Okay, so when you are young, naturally bad thoughts will come, but don't put it into practice. Now, how not to put it into practice? See, there are many good things that we know. We are supposed to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning today. Okay, but we are postponing it. We are supposed to go for seva, we are postponing it. So just, and the one thing about postponement is, no, the more you postpone, we know many of the things we have postponed for several months and years, and we have never done it. And we probably know subconsciously we'll never do it also because we have been postponing. That is one of the small tragedies I was mentioning about. Same thing when bad inclination or bad action comes, no, just tell your mind, abhi nahi, kal karte hain. Okay, you postpone it. The same method you use. And see, when that impulse is strong, no, when you say no to the mind, no, if you say no, it becomes angry and you rebel and you do it more than anything. But if you say tomorrow, yeah, you're not saying no. You're like playing Hanuman's tactic, okay? You're saying later, not now, tomorrow. You're telling, it's a self-conversation. For example, if you have weakness for ice cream, for example, and you know it's not good. I mean, ice cream is good, I'm not saying, but overindulgence, suppose you're indulging like morning, evening, every time. You can say, okay, I'll have it tomorrow. So when you kind of postpone it, no, that's the way of playing with the mind. When the child, for example, the child wants to eat ice cream. The mother says, you eat those 2 chapati, then I will give you ice cream. The child eats the 2 chapati and after that it is not hungry. Okay, basically the mother has tricked the child. So you have to be like a mother tricking your mind. You know, you have to trick it. But don't say no. Don't, if you say no, then it will go. So you have to trick it, and over a period of time, you see, you get a confidence of controlling, you know, now you can drive the horse. Now you can drive the horse of the mind. And over a period of time, you'll, and yet there are times when you will fall. But whenever you fall, no, don't beat yourself up. Think that it's a mild vaccination. Okay, when you are vaccinated, you get some headache and you get some pain. But you also generate a lot of antibodies so that when the real one comes next time, you're more prepared. So every time we fall, no, it only teaches us how not to fall next time, how we are better prepared. But that doesn't give you an excuse to fall deliberately. At least you should make your effort. So postpone when the temptation comes, and when something good has to be done, do it immediately. And the more you do, your self-worth, self-respect, and self-confidence goes up. With more self-confidence, self-respect, and doing Japa and Dhyana, which also gives you the right amount of energy and strength to, you know, overcome these kind of weaker tendencies of mind. So that is what my answer would be to this question.
Thank you, brother. I hope the brother from the Andhra Pradesh having question might be having clarity with this. So thank you so much, brother. Now we will move to the end part of this session. And it is very nice to have you on board with us yesterday and today also. You are giving the session as well as doing the Q&As, sitting in your lab only. So that's a very kind gesture from your side also. And you have beautifully cleared all the doubts and given Swami's experiences that are very daring to the heart while listening to all those things. And the analogies you have given in each answer is the solution of many questions which are running back at our head. So coming to this end of this session, I was thinking, why not one more question? Because in each question you are putting beautiful analogy or maybe some beautiful Swami's experience. So that's very ears are like, okay, there should be one more experience. So it's very beautiful. With these words, I would like to thank you for coming on board with us, and thank you for all the participants. I hope your Sunday is made already with this beautiful session. Thank you, IT team behind the scenes, and thank you all the organizing team members who are present over here. With this, we will move to the Shanti Mantra.
सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु। ॐ